Hello and welcome to ZzScience. Wherever and whenever you're listening from, I hope you're doing well. Just let your body relax and let your mind slow down. If you feel like it, you can tell me in the comments where you're listening from. And if there's a science topic you'd like to gently fall asleep to, I'd love to hear it. For now, let's slow things down and begin. Your heart is beating right now. It has been beating since before you were born. It will continue until the very end of your life. Right now, as you rest, it is moving blood through your body. It does this without you thinking about it, without you asking, without you remembering to tell it. Every beat sends blood forward. The blood carries oxygen. The oxygen came from your lungs. Your lungs pulled it from the air. They did this a moment ago. They are doing it again now. They will do it again in a few seconds. Your heart does not beat at random. It beats in rhythm. The rhythm changes based on what your body needs. When you run, it beats faster. When you sleep, it slows. Right now, as you rest, it is finding its slower pace. The rhythm comes from a small group of cells. These cells are located in the upper right chamber of your heart. They are called the sinoatrial node. They generate an electrical signal. The signal spreads. It tells the heart muscle when to contract. This happens about 60 to 70 times each minute when you are calm. Sometimes fewer, sometimes more. The exact number depends on many things: your age, your fitness, your state of rest, whether you are awake or asleep. Each beat is not isolated. Each beat is part of a sequence. The sequence is managed by your nervous system. Your nervous system has two main branches that affect your heart. One branch speeds it up, the other slows it down. They work in opposition. They work in balance. The branch that speeds your heart is called the sympathetic system. It becomes active when you need energy, when you need to move, when you need to respond. It releases chemicals that make your heart beat faster and stronger. The branch that slows your heart is called the parasympathetic system. It becomes active when you rest, when you digest food, when you sleep. It releases different chemicals. These chemicals tell your heart to slow down, to beat more gently. Right now, as you rest, the parasympathetic system is likely more active. It is telling your heart that urgency is not needed, that rest is permitted. Your heart listens. It slows. The blood that leaves your heart moves through vessels. The largest vessel is called the aorta. It arches out from the top of your heart. It curves downward. It branches. Each branch leads to a different part of your body. Some branches go to your brain. Some go to your arms. Some go to your stomach and intestines. Some go to your kidneys. Some go to your legs. Every part of your body receives blood. The blood carries oxygen, but it also carries nutrients: glucose, amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins, minerals. These came from the food you ate. Your digestive system broke the food down. Your intestines absorbed the pieces. The pieces entered your bloodstream. Now they are traveling. Your brain is receiving blood right now. Even though you are resting, your brain is active. It uses about 20% of the oxygen your body consumes. This is a large percentage for an organ that makes up only about 2% of your body weight. The oxygen is used by brain cells. Brain cells are called neurons. Neurons communicate with each other. They do this by sending electrical signals. The signals require energy. The energy comes from glucose and oxygen. Even when you sleep, your neurons remain active. They do not stop. They shift into different patterns. Some parts of your brain become less active. Other parts become more active. Your brain is never fully off. When you dream, certain areas of your brain become very active. The visual centers activate. Emotional centers activate. The logical centers, the ones that help you make sense of the world when you are awake, these become less active. This is why dreams often feel strange, why they do not follow normal rules. But dreaming is only one part of sleep. Sleep moves through stages. Each stage has a different pattern of brain activity. Each stage serves different purposes. The first stage is light sleep. Your brain slows down, your muscles relax. You can still be woken easily. This stage lasts only a few minutes. The second stage is slightly deeper. Your heart rate slows further. Your body temperature drops. Your brain produces sudden bursts of activity. These bursts are called sleep spindles. Scientists believe they help protect your sleep. They help keep you from waking. The third stage is deep sleep. Your brain produces slow, large waves of electrical activity. These are called delta waves. Your body becomes very still. Your breathing becomes very regular. It is hard to wake you during this stage. Then comes REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement. Your eyes move quickly beneath your closed eyelids. Your brain becomes almost as active as it is when you are awake. But your body is paralyzed. The paralysis is protective. It keeps you from acting out your dreams. You cycle through these stages multiple times each night. Each cycle lasts about 90 minutes. The cycles are not identical. Early in the night, you spend more time in deep sleep. Later in the night, you spend more time in REM sleep. While you sleep, your body is doing other work. Work that is harder to do when you are awake. Your cells are repairing themselves. During the day, cells accumulate damage. The damage comes from normal activity, from metabolism, from exposure to light and heat and movement. At night, repair processes become more active. Your brain, in particular, does significant maintenance during sleep. There is a system in your brain called the glymphatic system. It clears out waste products. These waste products build up during the day. They are byproducts of neural activity. The glymphatic system works by flushing fluid through the brain. The fluid flows along specific channels. It picks up waste. It carries the waste away. This system is much more active during sleep than during wakefulness. Scientists believe this cleaning process is essential. Without it, waste products accumulate. Some of these waste products are toxic. Over time, their accumulation may contribute to neurological problems. Your muscles also recover during sleep. During the day, when you use your muscles, you create small amounts of damage, tiny tears in muscle fibers. The damage is normal. It is part of how muscles grow stronger. At night, your body repairs these tears. It does this by building new proteins. The proteins are assembled by cells called ribosomes. The ribosomes read instructions from your DNA. They follow the instructions to build specific proteins. The proteins are made from amino acids. The amino acids came from the food you ate. Your digestive system broke down the proteins in your food. It released the amino acids. They entered your bloodstream. They traveled to your muscles. Now they are being used. Growth hormone helps this process. Growth hormone is released by your pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is a small structure at the base of your brain. It releases more growth hormone during deep sleep than during wakefulness. Growth hormone does many things. It promotes protein synthesis. It helps repair tissues. It affects how your body uses fat and sugar. Its release during sleep is one reason why sleep is important for recovery. Your immune system is also more active during sleep. Your immune system defends your body against infections. It does this using white blood cells. There are many types of white blood cells. Each type has different functions. Some white blood cells patrol your body. They look for signs of infection. When they find bacteria or viruses, they attack. Some white blood cells remember past infections. They help your body respond more quickly if the same infection returns. During sleep, the production of certain immune cells increases. The activity of certain immune processes increases. This is why sleep helps you recover when you are sick. This is why lack of sleep makes you more vulnerable to illness. Your hormones follow rhythms. These rhythms are tied to the cycle of day and night. They are tied to your sleep and wakefulness. Cortisol is one example. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone. It helps your body respond to challenges. It affects your blood sugar. It affects your blood pressure. It affects your immune system. Cortisol levels are lowest in the middle of the night. They begin to rise in the early morning before you wake. They peak shortly after you wake up. Then they gradually decline through the day. This pattern is normal. It is called a circadian rhythm. Circadian rhythms are cycles that last about 24 hours. They are controlled by a part of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This structure sits just above where your optic nerves cross. The suprachiasmatic nucleus receives information about light. When light enters your eyes, signals are sent to this structure. It uses the information to synchronize your internal rhythms with the external day-night cycle. When it is dark, your suprachiasmatic nucleus signals your pineal gland. The pineal gland is another small structure in your brain. In response to the signal, it releases melatonin. Melatonin makes you feel sleepy. It does not force you to sleep, but it encourages sleep. It lowers your body temperature slightly. It shifts your brain activity toward patterns associated with rest. Melatonin levels rise in the evening. They stay high through the night. They fall in the morning as light returns. This system works well when your exposure to light follows natural patterns. But modern life often disrupts this. Artificial light, especially blue light from screens, can confuse your suprachiasmatic nucleus. It can delay the release of melatonin. It can make it harder to fall asleep at the right time. Your body temperature also follows a rhythm. Your core temperature is not constant through the day. It rises slightly during the afternoon. It falls at night. The drop in temperature at night is part of what helps you sleep. A cooler body temperature is associated with deeper sleep. This is one reason why a cool room often feels more comfortable for sleeping than a warm room. Your heart rate and blood pressure also follow rhythms. They are higher during the day, lower at night. This pattern reduces the workload on your heart while you sleep. It gives your cardiovascular system time to recover. Your digestive system continues to work at night, but it slows. If you ate in the evening, your stomach and intestines are still processing that food. They are breaking it down. They are absorbing nutrients. But the process is slower than it would be during the day. Your stomach produces acid. The acid helps break down food. It also kills bacteria that might enter with food. The production of stomach acid follows a rhythm. It is higher when you eat. lower when you fast. At night, if you have not eaten recently, acid production decreases. This is protective. Too much acid without food can irritate the lining of your stomach. Your intestines move food along using wave-like contractions. These contractions are called peristalsis. Peristalsis continues at night, but it slows. This is normal. It is part of your body's shift toward rest. Your liver is active at night. Your liver has many functions. It processes nutrients. It produces proteins. It stores energy. It breaks down toxins. One of the liver's important roles is maintaining your blood sugar. During the day, when you eat, your blood sugar rises. Your pancreas releases insulin. Insulin tells your cells to take in sugar from your blood. It tells your liver to store sugar. At night, when you are not eating, your blood sugar would fall too low without intervention. Your liver prevents this. It releases stored sugar back into your bloodstream. It does this gradually. It keeps your blood sugar stable. This process is controlled by hormones. When your blood sugar starts to fall, your pancreas releases a hormone called glucagon. Glucagon tells your liver to release sugar. It balances the action of insulin. Your kidneys also work through the night. Your kidneys filter your blood. They remove waste products. They remove excess water. They help regulate the balance of salts and minerals in your body. The waste and excess water become urine. The urine is stored in your bladder. During the night, your body produces less urine than during the day. This is controlled by a hormone called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. ADH is released by your pituitary gland. It tells your kidneys to reabsorb more water. This concentrates your urine. It reduces the volume. This is why, under normal circumstances, you do not need to wake many times during the night to urinate. Your bladder can hold a certain amount of urine. When it fills, stretch receptors in the bladder wall send signals to your brain. Usually, these signals wake you. But the threshold for waking is higher during deep sleep. Your brain essentially decides that sleep is more important than emptying your bladder, unless the bladder becomes very full. Your lungs continue their work without pause. Each breath brings in air. The air travels down your trachea. The trachea splits into two tubes called bronchi. Each bronchus leads to one lung. Inside your lungs, the bronchi split into smaller and smaller tubes. The smallest tubes are called bronchioles. At the end of each bronchiole are tiny air sacs called alveoli. The alveoli are where gas exchange happens. Oxygen from the air passes through the thin walls of the alveoli. It enters tiny blood vessels called capillaries. At the same time, carbon dioxide from your blood passes into the alveoli. You breathe it out. This exchange is driven by differences in concentration. Oxygen is more concentrated in the air than in your blood, so it moves into your blood. Carbon dioxide is more concentrated in your blood than in the air, so it moves into the air. The oxygen that enters your blood binds to hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein inside red blood cells. Each hemoglobin molecule can carry 4 oxygen molecules. When hemoglobin is fully loaded with oxygen, your blood is bright red. When it has released its oxygen, your blood is darker. The oxygen-rich blood travels from your lungs to your heart. Your heart pumps it out to your body. The blood travels through arteries. Arteries have thick, muscular walls. The walls stretch with each heartbeat. They recoil between beats. This helps keep blood moving smoothly. The arteries branch into smaller vessels called arterioles. The arterioles branch into capillaries. Capillaries are extremely small. Their walls are only 1 cell thick. This thinness allows oxygen and nutrients to pass from the blood into the surrounding tissues. At the same time, carbon dioxide and other waste products pass from the tissues into the blood. The blood, now carrying less oxygen and more waste, travels through capillaries into small veins called venules. The venules merge into larger veins. The veins carry the blood back to your heart. The blood returns to the right side of your heart. Your heart pumps it to your lungs. The cycle begins again. This entire cycle takes less than a minute when you are at rest. Your red blood cells live for about 4 months. Then they wear out. They are removed from circulation by your spleen and liver. Your body breaks them down. It recycles the components. New red blood cells are constantly being made. They are made in your bone marrow. Bone marrow is the soft tissue inside certain bones. It is where most of your blood cells are produced. The production of red blood cells is controlled by a hormone called erythropoietin. This hormone is made by your kidneys. When your kidneys sense that your blood has too little oxygen, they release more erythropoietin. This stimulates your bone marrow to produce more red blood cells. Your white blood cells are also made in your bone marrow. But they do not all stay in your blood. Many white blood cells live in your tissues. They are stationed throughout your body. They wait for signs of infection. Your lymphatic system supports your immune system. The lymphatic system is a network of vessels and organs. It carries a fluid called lymph. Lymph is similar to blood plasma. It contains white blood cells. Lymph vessels collect fluid that leaks out of blood capillaries. They carry it through structures called lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are small, bean-shaped organs. They contain many white blood cells. When bacteria or viruses are in the lymph, the white blood cells in the nodes attack them. You have lymph nodes in many places: in your neck, under your arms, in your groin, in your abdomen. When you have an infection, nearby lymph nodes may swell. The swelling is a sign that white blood cells are multiplying to fight the infection. Your spleen is also part of your lymphatic system. It filters your blood. It removes old red blood cells. It stores white blood cells and platelets. Platelets are small cell fragments that help your blood clot. When you get a cut, platelets rush to the site. They stick to the edges of the wound. They clump together. They release chemicals that attract more platelets. They form a plug that stops the bleeding. At the same time, a series of proteins in your blood activate. These proteins are called clotting factors. They work in sequence. Each factor activates the next. The final step produces a protein called fibrin. Fibrin forms long threads. The threads weave through the platelet plug. They create a stable clot. This system must be carefully balanced. If your blood clots too easily, clots can form inside your vessels. This can block blood flow. It can cause heart attacks or strokes. If your blood does not clot easily enough, you can bleed too much from small injuries. Your body has mechanisms to prevent unwanted clotting. It has proteins that break down clots after a wound has healed. It has proteins that inhibit clotting factors when clotting is not needed. These systems work constantly. They maintain balance. Your skin is your largest organ. It covers your entire body. It protects you from the outside world. It keeps water inside. It keeps harmful substances out. It senses touch, temperature, and pain. Your skin has multiple layers. The outermost layer is called the epidermis. The epidermis is made of cells that are constantly being replaced. New cells form at the bottom of the epidermis. They push upward. As they move up, they fill with a tough protein called keratin. By the time they reach the surface, they are dead. They form a protective barrier. The dead cells on the surface flake off gradually. You lose millions of skin cells every day. You do not notice. They are constantly being replaced. Below the epidermis is the dermis. The dermis contains blood vessels, nerves, hair follicles, and sweat glands. It gives your skin strength and elasticity. Your skin helps regulate your body temperature. When you are too warm, blood vessels in your skin widen. This allows more blood to flow near the surface. Heat radiates away from your body. You also sweat. Sweat is mostly water. When it evaporates, it cools your skin. When you are too cold, blood vessels in your skin narrow. This reduces blood flow near the surface. It keeps heat inside your body. You may shiver. Shivering is rapid muscle contractions. The contractions generate heat. Your body tries to keep your core temperature around 37 degrees Celsius. This is approximately 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Small variations are normal, but large variations can be dangerous. If your temperature drops too low, your metabolism slows, your heart slows, your brain function declines. This is called hypothermia. If your temperature rises too high, proteins in your cells can break down. Your brain can be damaged. This is called hypothermia. Your body has sensors throughout that detect temperature changes. These sensors send signals to your hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus is a small region at the base of your brain. It acts as your body's thermostat. When your hypothalamus receives signals that you are too cold, it activates warming mechanisms, shivering, constricting blood vessels, increasing metabolism. When it receives signals that you are too warm, it activates cooling mechanisms, sweating, widening blood vessels, reducing activity. Right now, as you rest, your body temperature is likely dropping slightly. This is normal for sleep. Your hypothalamus has shifted its target temperature downward. This helps you sleep more deeply. Your muscles are relaxed. Muscle fibers are made of long cells. Inside each cell are structures called myofibrils. Myofibrils contain two types of protein filaments. One type is called actin. The other is called myosin. When a muscle contracts, myosin filaments pull on actin filaments. The filaments slide past each other. The muscle shortens. This pulling requires energy. The energy comes from a molecule called ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. It is the main energy currency in your cells. Almost everything your cells do requires ATP. ATP is made in your mitochondria. Mitochondria are small structures inside your cells. They are often called the powerhouses of the cell. They take in glucose and oxygen. Through a series of chemical reactions, they produce ATP. This process is called cellular respiration. It happens in multiple steps. The first step happens outside the mitochondria. It is called glycolysis. Glycolysis breaks glucose into smaller molecules. It produces a small amount of ATP. The smaller molecules enter the mitochondria. Inside the mitochondria, they are broken down further. This produces more ATP. This also produces carbon dioxide and water as waste products. The carbon dioxide is carried by your blood to your lungs. You breathe it out. The water becomes part of your body fluids. Your cells make ATP constantly. They use ATP constantly. Even at rest, even during sleep, your cells are active. They are maintaining themselves. They are repairing damage. They are producing proteins. They are transporting substances. All of this requires energy. Different organs use different amounts of energy. Your brain uses a lot. Your liver uses a lot. Your kidneys use a lot. Your muscles, when active, use a lot. When you are at rest, your muscles use less. But they never use nothing. Your heart is a muscle that never fully rests. It contracts continuously. It does not have time off. It cannot take a break. This means your heart muscle cells need a constant supply of ATP. They need a constant supply of oxygen and glucose. Your heart has its own blood supply. Arteries called coronary arteries branch from the aorta. They wrap around your heart. They deliver blood to the heart muscle. If a coronary artery becomes blocked, part of your heart muscle does not receive enough blood. The cells in that area begin to die. This is called a heart attack. The same principle applies to your brain. Your brain needs a constant supply of blood. If an artery in your brain becomes blocked, or if an artery ruptures, part of your brain does not receive enough blood. Cells begin to die. This is called a stroke. Your body tries to prevent these events. It tries to keep your arteries clear. But over time, arteries can become damaged. Cholesterol and other substances can build up in the artery walls. This is called atherosclerosis. The buildup narrows the artery. It reduces blood flow. It can also rupture. If it ruptures, your blood clotting system activates. A clot forms. The clot can block the artery completely. Your body has some protective mechanisms. It can grow new blood vessels around a blockage. This is called collateral circulation. It is more effective in some organs than others. It is more effective if the blockage develops slowly rather than suddenly. Exercise encourages collateral circulation. Exercise also helps keep arteries healthy. It reduces inflammation. It improves the function of the endothelium. The endothelium is the thin layer of cells that lines the inside of your blood vessels. A healthy endothelium produces substances that help keep blood vessels relaxed, that prevent clots, that reduce inflammation. A damaged endothelium loses these functions. This makes cardiovascular disease more likely. Your diet affects the health of your blood vessels. Certain fats, especially trans fats and excessive saturated fats, can damage the endothelium. They can raise cholesterol levels. They can promote atherosclerosis. Other nutrients help protect your blood vessels. Omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation. Fiber helps lower cholesterol. Antioxidants from fruits and vegetables protect cells from damage. Your body is constantly balancing inputs and outputs. You take in food and water. You expel waste and excess water. You take in oxygen. You expel carbon dioxide. These balances are tightly regulated. If you take in more water than you expel, your blood volume increases. Your blood pressure rises. Your kidneys respond by expelling more water. If you take in less water than you expel, your blood volume decreases. Your blood pressure falls. Your kidneys respond by conserving water. Your hypothalamus triggers thirst. You feel the need to drink. The same principles apply to salts: sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. Your body needs these in specific amounts. Too much or too little of any of them can cause problems. Sodium affects blood pressure. It affects nerve function. It affects muscle function. Your kidneys regulate sodium by controlling how much is reabsorbed and how much is excreted in urine. Potassium is essential for heart function. It is essential for muscle contractions. It is essential for nerve signals. Your kidneys also regulate potassium. If potassium levels become too high or too low, your heart rhythm can become abnormal. Calcium is essential for bone strength. It is also essential for muscle contractions. It is essential for nerve signals. It is essential for blood clotting. Your bones store calcium. When blood calcium levels fall, hormones signal your bones to release calcium. When blood calcium levels rise, hormones signal your bones to store calcium. Your parathyroid glands control calcium balance. These are 4 small glands located on the back of your thyroid gland. They release parathyroid hormone. This hormone raises blood calcium levels. Your thyroid gland also affects calcium. It produces a hormone called calcitonin. Calcitonin lowers blood calcium levels. It does the opposite of parathyroid hormone. Your thyroid gland produces other hormones as well. The main ones are called T3 and T4. These hormones affect your metabolism. They affect how fast your cells use energy. They affect your heart rate. They affect your body temperature. They affect your mood. If your thyroid produces too much hormone, your metabolism speeds up. You may lose weight even though you are eating normally. Your heart may beat too fast. You may feel anxious or irritable. If your thyroid produces too little hormone, your metabolism slows down. You may gain weight. You may feel tired. You may feel cold. Your thinking may become sluggish. Your pituitary gland controls your thyroid. It releases thyroid-stimulating hormone, or TSH. TSH tells your thyroid to produce more T3 and T4. When T3 and T4 levels are high, they signal your pituitary to release less TSH. This is a feedback loop. It keeps thyroid hormone levels stable. Your body has many feedback loops. Most of your hormones are controlled this way. The system that produces the hormone receives signals about the hormone's level. If the level is too high, production decreases. If the level is too low, production increases. This type of regulation is called negative feedback. It is similar to how a thermostat works. When the temperature rises above the set point, the heater turns off. When the temperature falls below the set point, the heater turns on. Negative feedback keeps your internal environment stable. This stability is called homeostasis. Homeostasis is essential for life. Your cells can only function within certain ranges of temperature, pH, salt concentration, and other factors. When homeostasis is disrupted, you become ill. Sometimes your body can restore homeostasis on its own. Sometimes it needs help. This is why medicine exists. To help restore homeostasis when the body cannot do it alone. Your bones are living tissue. They may seem static, but they are constantly being remodeled. Cells called osteoclasts break down old bone. Cells called osteoblasts build new bone. This process serves multiple purposes. It repairs small areas of damage. It allows bones to adapt to stress. Bones that bear more weight become stronger. Bones that bear less weight become weaker. This is why astronauts lose bone density in space. Without the constant force of gravity, their bones experience less stress. The osteoclasts continue breaking down bone. The osteoblasts produce less new bone. The balance shifts. Bone density decreases. This is also why exercise helps maintain bone density as you age. Weight-bearing exercise stresses your bones. The stress signals osteoblasts to build more bone. The balance shifts in the other direction. Bone density is maintained or even increased. Your bones also store minerals, mostly calcium and phosphorus. When your blood levels of these minerals fall, your bones release them. When blood levels are high, your bones absorb them. Your bone marrow inside your bones produces blood cells, red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets. This production continues throughout your life. It never stops. Your red blood cells carry oxygen, but they also carry some carbon dioxide. About 23% of the carbon dioxide in your blood is carried by hemoglobin. The rest is dissolved in blood plasma or converted to other forms. When carbon dioxide dissolves in blood, it forms an acid. This lowers the pH of your blood. Your blood pH must stay within a narrow range. Too acidic or too alkaline, and proteins in your body stop working properly. Your lungs help control pH by adjusting how much carbon dioxide you exhale. If your blood becomes too acidic, you breathe faster and deeper. This expels more carbon dioxide. Your pH rises. If your blood becomes too alkaline, you breathe slower and shallower. This retains more carbon dioxide. Your pH falls. Your kidneys also help control pH. They can excrete acid or base in your urine. They can reabsorb substances that buffer pH. This process is slower than breathing, but it is more precise. Together, your lungs and kidneys keep your blood pH around 7.4. This is slightly alkaline. Small deviations are normal. Large deviations are dangerous. Your blood also contains proteins, hundreds of different types. Each type has specific functions. Some transport substances, some fight infections, some help blood clot. Some act as messengers between cells. Albumin is the most abundant protein in your blood. It helps maintain blood volume. It does this by drawing water into your blood vessels. It also transports hormones, vitamins, and drugs through your bloodstream. If albumin levels fall too low, water leaks out of your blood vessels. It accumulates in your tissues. This causes swelling, especially in your legs and abdomen. This condition is called edema. Your liver produces albumin. It produces most of the other proteins in your blood as well. If your liver is damaged, protein production decreases. This can cause many problems. Your liver is remarkable in its capacity to regenerate. If part of your liver is removed or damaged, the remaining tissue can grow. Liver cells divide. The liver can restore much of its original size and function. This capacity is not unlimited. Severe or repeated damage can overwhelm the liver's ability to regenerate. Scar tissue forms. Scar tissue does not function like normal liver tissue. It cannot perform the liver's many tasks. This is what happens in cirrhosis. The liver becomes filled with scar tissue. Blood cannot flow through it properly. Toxins build up in the bloodstream. The liver cannot produce enough proteins. The body's chemistry becomes disordered. Your liver filters about 1.4 liters of blood every minute. It removes toxins. It removes old hormones. It removes drugs. It converts them into forms that can be excreted by your kidneys or intestines. Some substances are fat-soluble. They cannot be excreted directly in urine, which is mostly water. Your liver converts them into water-soluble forms. This process is called metabolism or biotransformation. Sometimes this process creates more toxic substances than the original ones. Usually these are quickly converted again into less toxic forms. But sometimes the toxic intermediates can cause damage. This is why some drugs can harm the liver, even though the liver is trying to eliminate them. Your liver also stores nutrients. It stores glucose in the form of glycogen. When your blood sugar falls, your liver breaks down glycogen. It releases glucose into your blood. Your liver can also make glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. This process is called gluconeogenesis. It uses amino acids from proteins or glycerol from fats. This ensures your blood sugar does not fall too low, even if you have not eaten for many hours. Your liver stores vitamins. The fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamin A, D, E, K. It stores them because these vitamins are not always available in the diet. The stores can last weeks or months, depending on the vitamin. Vitamin D is unusual. It is technically not a vitamin because your body can make it. Your skin produces vitamin D when exposed to sunlight, specifically ultraviolet B radiation. Vitamin D affects many processes in your body. It helps your intestines absorb calcium. It affects your immune system. It affects your muscles. It affects your mood. Many people do not get enough vitamin D. This is especially true in places with long winters or limited sunlight. Dark skin reduces vitamin D production. Sunscreen reduces it as well, though sunscreen is important for preventing skin cancer. Vitamin D from your skin or from your diet is not immediately active. It must be converted, first in your liver, then in your kidneys. After these conversions, it becomes active. It can bind to receptors in your cells. It can influence gene expression. Gene expression is the process by which information in your DNA is used to make proteins. Your DNA contains instructions for making every protein your body needs. But not every cell makes every protein. Each cell type makes only the proteins it needs. Gene expression is tightly controlled. Signals inside and outside the cell influence which genes are turned on and which are turned off. Hormones are one type of signal. Nutrients are another. Physical stress is another. This control allows your body to respond to changing conditions. When you eat, genes involved in storing energy are turned on. When you fast, genes involved in releasing energy are turned on. When you exercise, genes involved in building muscle are turned on. Your DNA is located in the nucleus of your cells. The nucleus is surrounded by a membrane. This membrane keeps your DNA separate from the rest of the cell. When a gene is turned on, an enzyme copies the gene's sequence into a molecule called messenger RNA, or mRNA. The mRNA leaves the nucleus. It travels to a ribosome. Ribosomes read the mRNA sequence. They assemble amino acids into a protein. The sequence of the mRNA determines the sequence of the amino acids. The sequence of the amino acids determines the structure of the protein. The structure determines the function. This process happens constantly in every cell. Your cells are making proteins all the time. Some proteins last only minutes before being broken down. Others last days or weeks. Proteins are broken down by structures called proteasomes. Proteasomes are like molecular shredders. They chop proteins into amino acids. The amino acids are recycled. They are used to make new proteins. This constant turnover is necessary. It allows your cells to respond quickly to changes. It allows damaged proteins to be removed before they cause problems. It allows your body to adapt. Your cells also contain mitochondria. Mitochondria have their own DNA. This DNA is separate from the DNA in your nucleus. It is inherited only from your mother. This is because the egg cell contributes most of the cytoplasm to the fertilized egg. The sperm contributes mainly just its nuclear DNA. Mitochondrial DNA codes for some of the proteins that mitochondria need, but not all. Most mitochondrial proteins are coded by nuclear DNA. They are made outside the mitochondria, then imported. Mitochondria are thought to have originated as independent bacteria. Billions of years ago, a cell engulfed a bacterium. Instead of digesting it, the cell and the bacterium formed a partnership. The bacterium produced energy. The cell provided protection and nutrients. Over time, the bacterium became an organelle. It became the mitochondrion. This theory is supported by several pieces of evidence. Mitochondria have their own DNA. They have their own ribosomes. Their ribosomes are similar to bacterial ribosomes. They reproduce by dividing, like bacteria. They have two membranes, which is consistent with having been engulfed. This partnership has been extraordinarily successful. Nearly all complex life forms have mitochondria. Without mitochondria, complex life as we know it would not exist. The energy demands of complex cells are too high to be met without mitochondria. Your cells contain other structures as well. The endoplasmic reticulum is a network of membranes. It folds and modifies proteins. It produces lipids. There are two types. Rough endoplasmic reticulum has ribosomes attached. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not. The Golgi apparatus is another structure. It receives proteins from the endoplasmic reticulum. It modifies them further. It packages them. It sends them to their destinations inside or outside the cell. Lysosomes are small sacs filled with digestive enzymes. They break down unwanted materials inside the cell. Old organelles, damaged proteins, materials brought in from outside the cell. The lysosomes digest these materials. They recycle the components. Peroxisomes are similar to lysosomes. They contain enzymes that break down fatty acids. They also break down toxic substances. They produce hydrogen peroxide as a byproduct. Hydrogen peroxide is toxic, but peroxisomes also contain an enzyme that breaks it down into water and oxygen. Your cells are surrounded by a membrane. The membrane is made of lipids, mostly phospholipids. These molecules have a water-loving head and two water-fearing tails. In water, they arrange themselves into a double layer. The heads face outward, toward the water. The tails face inward, away from the water. This double layer is called a lipid bilayer. It forms the basic structure of all cell membranes. Embedded in the bilayer are proteins. Some proteins span the entire membrane. Others are attached to one side or the other. These proteins have many functions. Some are channels. They allow specific substances to pass through the membrane. Some are pumps. They move substances against their concentration gradient. This requires energy. Some are receptors. They bind to hormones or other signaling molecules. This triggers changes inside the cell. Your cell membranes are not static, they are fluid. The lipids and proteins can move within the membrane. This fluidity is important. It allows membranes to change shape. It allows membranes to fuse with each other. It allows membranes to repair small holes. The fluidity depends on temperature and on the types of lipids in the membrane. Unsaturated fats make membranes more fluid. Saturated fats make them less fluid. Cholesterol in the membrane affects fluidity as well. It reduces fluidity at high temperatures. It increases fluidity at low temperatures. It helps keep fluidity stable across a range of temperatures. Your cells communicate with each other. They do this using chemical signals. Hormones are one type of signal. They travel through the bloodstream. They can affect cells far from where they were released. Other signals work over shorter distances. Neurotransmitters are released by nerve cells. They travel across a tiny gap called a synapse. They bind to receptors on the next cell. This transmits the signal. The synapse is extremely small, only about 20 to 40 nanometers wide. A nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter. The neurotransmitter molecules cross this gap in less than a millisecond. Different neurons use different neurotransmitters. Glutamate is the most common excitatory neurotransmitter. It makes the receiving neuron more likely to fire. GABA is the most common inhibitory neurotransmitter. It makes the receiving neuron less likely to fire. Dopamine is another neurotransmitter. It is involved in motivation and reward. It is involved in movement. Problems with dopamine signaling are associated with Parkinson's disease. In Parkinson's disease, neurons that produce dopamine gradually die. This causes tremors, stiffness, and difficulty moving. Serotonin is involved in mood. It is involved in sleep. It is involved in appetite. Many antidepressant medications work by affecting serotonin signaling. They prevent serotonin from being reabsorbed after it is released. This leaves more serotonin in the synapse. This can improve mood in some people. Norepinephrine is involved in alertness. It is involved in the stress response. It is released by your adrenal glands during stress. It is also released by certain neurons in your brain. When you perceive a threat, your sympathetic nervous system activates. Your adrenal glands release norepinephrine and epinephrine into your bloodstream. Epinephrine is also called adrenaline. These hormones prepare your body for action. Your heart beats faster. Your blood pressure rises. Your airways open wider. Blood flow shifts away from your digestive system and toward your muscles. Your pupils dilate. Your liver releases glucose into your bloodstream. This is called the fight or flight response. It is adaptive in the face of immediate physical danger. It gives you the energy and alertness to respond quickly. But chronic activation of this response is harmful. It keeps your blood pressure high. It keeps your heart working hard. It disrupts your digestion. It impairs your immune system. It interferes with sleep. Chronic stress is associated with many health problems: heart disease, digestive problems, anxiety, depression, weakened immunity. This is why managing stress is important for health. Your parasympathetic nervous system counteracts the stress response. It promotes rest and digestion. It slows your heart. It lowers your blood pressure. It stimulates digestion. It promotes sleep. The balance between your sympathetic and parasympathetic systems affects your overall state. When you are calm, your parasympathetic system dominates. When you are active or stressed, your sympathetic system dominates. Breathing affects this balance. Slow, deep breathing activates your parasympathetic system. It slows your heart. It lowers your blood pressure. It promotes relaxation. This is one reason why breathing exercises are used to reduce stress. When you inhale, your heart rate increases slightly. When you exhale, your heart rate decreases slightly. This is called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. It is normal. It is a sign of healthy heart rate variability. Heart rate variability refers to the variation in time between heartbeats. A healthy heart does not beat like a metronome. The intervals between beats vary slightly. This variation is controlled by your autonomic nervous system. High heart rate variability is generally a sign of good health. It indicates that your heart can respond flexibly to changing demands. Low heart rate variability is associated with stress, illness, and increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Your heart rate variability changes throughout the day. It is higher during sleep, lower during waking hours, lower during stress, higher during relaxation. Exercise affects heart rate variability in complex ways. During exercise, variability decreases. This makes sense. Your heart needs to beat rapidly and steadily to supply your muscles with blood. But regular exercise, over time, increases resting heart rate variability. This is one of the ways exercise improves cardiovascular health. Your muscles adapt to exercise. When you use a muscle repeatedly, it changes. If the exercise is endurance-based, like running or cycling, your muscles develop more mitochondria. They develop more capillaries. They become better at using oxygen. They become more resistant to fatigue. If the exercise is strength-based, like lifting weights, your muscles grow larger. The individual muscle fibers thicken. This is called hypertrophy. More myofibrils are produced, more actin and myosin filaments. The muscle becomes capable of generating more force. These adaptations take time. They require repeated stimulus. They also require rest. Muscles do not grow stronger during exercise. They grow stronger during recovery after exercise. This is why rest is important. During rest, your body repairs the microscopic damage caused by exercise. It builds new proteins. It strengthens the structures that were stressed. The muscle becomes slightly stronger than it was before. If you exercise again before recovery is complete, your performance may suffer. If you do this repeatedly, you may become overtrained. Your performance declines. You feel fatigued. You may develop injuries. You may have trouble sleeping. Sleep is essential for recovery. During sleep, growth hormone is released. Protein synthesis increases. Inflammation decreases. Energy stores are replenished. Your muscles store energy in the form of glycogen. Glycogen is a chain of glucose molecules. When your muscles need energy quickly, they break down glycogen. They release glucose. They use it to make ATP. Your muscles can also use fat for energy. Fat provides more energy per gram than glucose, but it takes longer to break down. It requires oxygen. During intense exercise, when your muscles need energy very quickly, they rely more on glucose. During moderate exercise, when oxygen is available, they use more fat. Your muscles can produce some ATP without oxygen. This process is called anaerobic metabolism. It is fast, but it is inefficient. It produces lactic acid as a byproduct. Lactic acid accumulates in your muscles during intense exercise. It contributes to the burning sensation you feel. It can impair muscle function temporarily. But lactic acid is not harmful. It is cleared from your muscles after exercise. It is converted back into glucose by your liver. The idea that lactic acid causes muscle soreness the next day is a myth. Delayed onset muscle soreness, the soreness you feel 1 or 2 days after exercise, is caused by inflammation and microscopic damage to muscle fibers. It is part of the adaptation process. Your muscles contain 2 main types of fibers: slow twitch fibers and fast twitch fibers. Slow twitch fibers are better at endurance. They have more mitochondria. They have more capillaries. They use oxygen efficiently. They are resistant to fatigue, but they do not generate much force. Fast twitch fibers generate more force. They contract more quickly, but they fatigue more easily. They rely more on anaerobic metabolism. They have fewer mitochondria, fewer capillaries. The proportion of slow twitch and fast twitch fibers varies between people. It is partly genetic. Endurance athletes tend to have more slow twitch fibers. Sprinters and power athletes tend to have more fast twitch fibers. Training can change the characteristics of your muscle fibers somewhat. Endurance training can make fast twitch fibers more like slow twitch fibers. They develop more mitochondria. They become more resistant to fatigue. But the basic fiber type does not change. Your nervous system controls your muscles. Each muscle fiber is controlled by a single motor neuron. A motor neuron is a nerve cell that connects to muscle. 1. Motor neuron can control multiple muscle fibers. The neuron and all the fibers it controls are called a motor unit. When a motor neuron fires, all the fibers in its motor unit contract. The force your muscle produces depends on how many motor units are activated. For fine movements, motor units are small. One neuron controls only a few fibers. This allows precise control. Your eye muscles have very small motor units. Your finger muscles have small motor units. For powerful movements, motor units are large. One neuron controls many fibers. Your leg muscles have large motor units. Your back muscles have large motor units. Your nervous system recruits motor units in order. Small motor units are recruited first. These contain slow twitch fibers. As more force is needed, larger motor units are recruited. These contain fast twitch fibers. This is called the size principle. It allows your nervous system to produce force efficiently. For light tasks, only the most efficient fibers are used. For heavy tasks, all available fibers are used. Skilled movements require coordination between many muscles. When you reach for an object, some muscles contract to move your arm. Others contract to stabilize your shoulder and trunk. Others relax to allow the movement. This coordination is managed by your brain and spinal cord. Your cerebellum is especially important. The cerebellum is a structure at the back of your brain. It fine-tunes movements. It corrects errors. It helps you learn new motor skills. When you first learn a movement, like riding a bicycle or playing a musical instrument, it requires intense concentration. You have to think about every step. The movement is awkward and inefficient. With practice, the movement becomes automatic. You no longer have to think about it. It becomes smooth and efficient. This happens because your brain forms new connections. Neurons that fire together during the movement become linked. The pattern becomes stored. This is called motor learning. It involves changes in your cerebellum, in your motor cortex, and in other parts of your brain. The changes are physical. New synapses form. Existing synapses strengthen. The brain literally rewires itself. This process is not limited to childhood. Your brain can form new connections throughout your life. This is called neuroplasticity. It is how you learn new skills at any age. It is how your brain recovers after injury. After a stroke, for example, part of the brain is damaged. Functions controlled by that area are impaired. But with rehabilitation, some function can return. Other parts of the brain can take over some of the lost functions. New connections form. The brain adapts. The extent of recovery depends on many factors: the size and location of the damage, the person's age, the intensity of rehabilitation, how soon rehabilitation begins. Your brain has specialized regions. Each region has specific functions. The motor cortex controls voluntary movements. The sensory cortex processes touch, temperature, and pain. The visual cortex processes vision. The auditory cortex processes hearing. But these regions do not work in isolation. They are connected by bundles of nerve fibers. Information flows between regions. This integration allows you to perceive the world as a unified whole, to coordinate complex behaviors, to think abstractly. Your prefrontal cortex, at the front of your brain, is involved in planning and decision-making. It is involved in controlling impulses. It is involved in social behavior. It is one of the last regions to mature. It continues developing into your mid-20s. Damage to the prefrontal cortex can change personality. It can impair judgment. It can reduce impulse control. This shows that your sense of self, your personality, is not separate from your brain. It arises from the physical structure and activity of your brain. Consciousness itself is a product of your brain. Scientists do not fully understand how consciousness arises, but it is clear that it depends on brain activity. When parts of the brain are damaged, aspects of consciousness are lost. During sleep, your consciousness changes. You are less aware of your surroundings. Your sense of time becomes distorted. During dreams, you may accept impossible situations as normal. Your critical thinking is reduced. But you are not unconscious during sleep. You can still respond to stimuli. A loud noise will wake you. A gentle touch might wake you. A parent might wake to the sound of their baby crying, but not to other noises. This shows that some processing of sensory information continues during sleep. Your brain also continues to process information from inside your body. It monitors your blood pressure. It monitors your oxygen levels. It monitors your body temperature. If these values move outside acceptable ranges, your brain initiates responses. Often these responses wake you. If your blood oxygen falls too low, you wake. You take a deeper breath. This happens automatically. You may not remember it in the morning. Some people have a condition called sleep apnea. Their breathing stops repeatedly during sleep. The pauses can last seconds or even minutes. Oxygen levels fall. The brain wakes the person just enough to resume breathing. This can happen hundreds of times per night. People with sleep apnea often do not remember these awakenings, but the interruptions prevent deep sleep. They wake feeling unrefreshed. They may be sleepy during the day. Over time, sleep apnea increases the risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke. Sleep apnea is often caused by the airway collapsing during sleep. The muscles that hold the airway open relax too much. This is more common in people who are overweight. It is more common when sleeping on the back. It is more common with age. Treatment often involves using a device that provides continuous positive airway pressure, or CPAP. The device blows air into the airway through a mask. The air pressure keeps the airway open. Breathing continues normally. Sleep quality improves. Your breathing is controlled by a part of your brainstem called the medulla. The medulla monitors carbon dioxide levels in your blood. When carbon dioxide rises, the medulla sends signals to your diaphragm and other breathing muscles. You take a breath. This control is mostly automatic. You do not have to think about breathing. But you can also control your breathing voluntarily. You can hold your breath. You can breathe faster or slower. You can take deep breaths or shallow breaths. This dual control is unusual. Most automatic functions cannot be overridden voluntarily. You cannot will your heart to stop beating. You cannot will your stomach to stop digesting. But you can control your breathing. This is why breathing exercises can be used to influence your autonomic nervous system. Your diaphragm is the main muscle of breathing. It is a dome-shaped muscle that separates your chest from your right abdomen. When it contracts, it flattens. This increases the volume of your chest. The pressure in your lungs decreases. Air flows in. When your diaphragm relaxes, it returns to its dome shape. The volume of your chest decreases. The pressure in your lungs increases. Air flows out. Other muscles can also assist breathing. The muscles between your ribs can lift your rib cage. This further increases chest volume. The muscles in your abdomen can push your diaphragm upward. This forces more air out. During quiet breathing, only your diaphragm is really active. Exhalation is passive. Your diaphragm relaxes. Your lungs and chest wall recoil. Air flows out. During exercise, breathing becomes more active. Both inhalation and exhalation use muscular effort. You breathe more deeply. You breathe more frequently. This increases the amount of oxygen entering your blood. It increases the amount of carbon dioxide leaving your blood. Your breathing rate and depth are adjusted to match your activity level. This matching happens automatically. Your brainstem receives information about carbon dioxide levels. It receives information about oxygen levels. It receives information about blood pH. It adjusts your breathing accordingly. If you climb stairs, your muscles use more oxygen. They produce more carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide levels in your blood rise. Your brainstem detects this. It increases your breathing. More oxygen enters, more carbon dioxide leaves. The balance is maintained. If you sit quietly, your muscles use less oxygen. They produce less carbon dioxide. Your breathing slows. The balance is still maintained. This system is very sensitive. Small changes in carbon dioxide trigger changes in breathing. This sensitivity ensures that your blood chemistry stays stable. Your blood pH must remain stable. If it becomes too acidic, enzymes in your body stop working properly. Chemical reactions slow down or speed up inappropriately. Cells malfunction. The same is true if your blood becomes too alkaline. The narrow range of acceptable pH reflects the chemistry of proteins. Proteins are made of amino acids. Amino acids can gain or lose hydrogen ions depending on pH. This changes the electrical charge on the protein. It changes the protein's shape. It changes how the protein functions. Your body has multiple systems to control pH. Your lungs control pH by adjusting carbon dioxide levels. Your kidneys control pH by adjusting what they excrete and what they reabsorb. Buffers in your blood also help. Buffers are substances that can absorb or release hydrogen ions. They smooth out rapid changes in pH. The main buffer in your blood is bicarbonate. Bicarbonate can combine with hydrogen ions. This removes the ions from solution. It reduces acidity. Bicarbonate can also release hydrogen ions. This increases acidity when needed. Your kidneys control bicarbonate levels. If your blood is too acidic, your kidneys reabsorb more bicarbonate. If your blood is too alkaline, your kidneys excrete more bicarbonate. This adjustment takes hours to days. It is slower than the adjustments made by your lungs, but it is more powerful. Your kidneys can make larger changes to pH. They can sustain those changes indefinitely. Your kidneys are filtering organs. You have 2 kidneys. They are located on either side of your spine, just below your rib cage. Each kidney contains about 1 million filtering units called nephrons. Each nephron consists of a cluster of capillaries called a glomerulus and a long tube called a tubule. Blood flows through the glomerulus. Pressure forces water and small molecules out of the blood. They enter the tubule. As the fluid moves through the tubule, useful substances are reabsorbed. Water, glucose, amino acids, salts. These pass back into the blood. Waste products remain in the tubule. Additional wastes are secreted into the tubule from the blood. The fluid that remains becomes urine. It flows from the tubule into a collecting duct. The collecting ducts merge. They carry urine to the center of the kidney. From there, urine flows down a tube called the ureter. Each ureter connects a kidney to your bladder. Your bladder stores urine until you are ready to release it. The bladder is a muscular sac. Its walls can stretch. When empty, the bladder is small. As it fills, it expands. The bladder wall contains stretch receptors. When the bladder fills to a certain point, these receptors send signals to your brain. You feel the urge to urinate. You can usually control when you urinate. This control involves muscles at the base of your bladder and around your urethra. The urethra is the tube through which urine leaves your body. Normally, these muscles are contracted. They keep the urethra closed. When you decide to urinate, you relax these muscles. At the same time, your bladder contracts. Urine flows out. In infants, this process is not under voluntary control. The bladder fills. When it reaches a certain fullness, it empties reflexively. Learning to control urination is a developmental milestone. It requires maturation of the nervous system. It requires learning to recognize the signals from the bladder. It requires learning to control the relevant muscles. As you age, bladder control can become more difficult. The bladder muscles may weaken. The bladder may not empty completely. The signals may become harder to suppress. This is why older adults sometimes need to urinate more frequently, especially at night. Your bladder and kidneys are part of your urinary system. This system removes waste from your blood. It regulates fluid balance. It regulates salt balance. It regulates pH. It regulates blood pressure. Your kidneys regulate blood pressure by controlling blood volume. If your blood pressure is too low, your kidneys retain more water. Blood volume increases. Blood pressure rises. Your kidneys also produce a hormone called renin. Renin starts a chain of reactions. These reactions lead to the production of a hormone called angiotensin II. Angiotensin II narrows blood vessels. This increases blood pressure. It also stimulates the release of aldosterone. Aldosterone is produced by your adrenal glands. It tells your kidneys to retain sodium. When sodium is retained, water is retained as well. Blood volume increases. Blood pressure rises. This system is called the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. It is an important regulator of blood pressure. Many blood pressure medications work by blocking parts of this system. Your adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys. Each adrenal gland has two parts. The outer part is called the cortex. The inner part is called the medulla. The cortex produces several hormones. Aldosterone is one. Cortisol is another. Cortisol affects metabolism. It affects immune function. It is released in response to stress. The medulla produces epinephrine and norepinephrine. These are released during the fight or flight response. They increase heart rate. They increase blood pressure. They mobilize energy stores. Your adrenal glands are essential. Without them, you cannot survive. If they are damaged, or if they do not produce enough hormones, you develop a condition called adrenal insufficiency. You feel weak. Your blood pressure falls. Your blood sugar falls. You become ill. If untreated, adrenal insufficiency can be fatal. Treatment involves taking hormones to replace what the adrenal glands would normally produce. With treatment, people with adrenal insufficiency can live normal lives. Your body depends on hormones. Hormones are chemical messengers. They travel through your bloodstream. They affect cells far from where they were produced. Each hormone binds to specific receptors. Only cells with the right receptor can respond to a particular hormone. This allows hormones to target specific cells, even though they are distributed throughout the body. Some hormones work quickly. Epinephrine acts within seconds. Other hormones work slowly. Thyroid hormones take hours or days to have their full effect. Some hormones are made from amino acids. These are water-soluble. They cannot pass through cell membranes easily. They bind to receptors on the cell surface. This triggers a cascade of reactions inside the cell. Other hormones are made from cholesterol. These are fat-soluble. They can pass through cell membranes. They bind to receptors inside the cell. The hormone receptor complex enters the nucleus. It affects gene expression directly. The balance of hormones in your body affects almost everything. Your energy level, your mood, your appetite, your growth, your reproduction, your stress response, your sleep. Disruptions in hormone balance can cause disease. Too much or too little of any hormone can have significant effects. This is why hormone-related disorders often have widespread symptoms. Diabetes is an example. Diabetes involves insulin, a hormone produced by your pancreas. Insulin tells cells to take in glucose from the blood. Without enough insulin, or if cells do not respond to insulin properly, glucose accumulates in the blood. High blood glucose damages blood vessels. It damages nerves. It increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, and vision loss. Managing diabetes requires keeping blood glucose as close to normal as possible. Type 1 diabetes occurs when the immune system attacks the cells in the pancreas that produce insulin. These cells are destroyed. The pancreas cannot produce insulin. People with type 1 diabetes must take insulin to survive. Type 2 diabetes occurs when cells become resistant to insulin. The pancreas produces insulin, but cells do not respond properly. Initially, the pancreas compensates by producing more insulin, but over time it cannot keep up. Blood glucose rises. Type 2 diabetes is associated with obesity, inactivity, and genetics. It can often be managed with diet, exercise, and medication. Sometimes insulin is needed. Your pancreas produces other hormones as well. Glucagon is the opposite of insulin. While insulin lowers blood glucose, glucagon raises it. The two hormones work together to keep blood glucose stable. Your pancreas also produces digestive enzymes. These are released into your small intestine. They help break down proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. The pancreas has two main functions. Its endocrine function is hormone production. Insulin and glucagon enter the bloodstream. Its exocrine function is enzyme production. Enzymes enter the digestive tract. Your digestive system breaks food down into molecules your body can use. Digestion begins in your mouth. Your teeth break food into smaller pieces. Your saliva moistens the food. Saliva also contains an enzyme that begins breaking down starch. You swallow. The food travels down your esophagus. The esophagus is a muscular tube. Contractions push the food downward. This is why you can swallow even while upside down. Gravity helps, but it is not essential. The food reaches your stomach. The stomach is a muscular sac. It churns the food. It mixes it with gastric juice. Gastric juice contains acid and enzymes. The acid kills most bacteria. The enzymes begin breaking down proteins. The stomach does not absorb much. Water and alcohol are absorbed to some extent. Most nutrients are absorbed later in your small intestine. Food stays in your stomach for 1 to 4 hours, depending on what you ate. Liquids leave quickly. Carbohydrates leave relatively quickly. Proteins take longer. Fats take the longest. From your stomach, food enters your small intestine. The small intestine is about 6 meters long. It is called small because it is narrow, not because it is short. Most digestion and absorption happen in the small intestine. Your pancreas releases enzymes into the small intestine. Your liver produces bile. Bile is stored in your gallbladder. It is released into the small intestine when you eat. Bile helps digest fats. Fats are not water-soluble. They form large droplets. Bile breaks the droplets into smaller pieces. This process is called emulsification. It increases the surface area of fat. This makes it easier for enzymes to break the fat down. Enzymes from your pancreas break down proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. The proteins are broken into amino acids. The fats are broken into fatty acids and glycerol. The carbohydrates are broken into simple sugars. These small molecules are absorbed through the walls of your small intestine. The walls are lined with tiny finger-like projections called villi. The villi increase the surface area enormously. This allows efficient absorption. Inside each villus are blood capillaries and a small lymph vessel. Most nutrients enter the blood capillaries. They travel to your liver. Fats are an exception. They enter the lymph vessel. Eventually, they reach the bloodstream, but they bypass the liver initially. Your liver processes the nutrients that arrive from your small intestine. It stores some. It converts some. It releases some into circulation for use by other tissues. By the time food leaves your small intestine, most nutrients have been absorbed. What remains is mostly water, fiber, and waste. This material enters your large intestine. Your large intestine is shorter than your small intestine, but it is wider. It is about 1.5 meters long. Its main functions are to absorb water and to store waste. Your large intestine contains trillions of bacteria. These bacteria are not harmful. They are beneficial. They help digest fiber. They produce vitamins, especially vitamin K and some B vitamins. They protect against harmful bacteria. This community of bacteria is called your gut microbiome. The composition of your microbiome affects your health. It affects your digestion. It affects your immune system. It may even affect your mood and behavior. Different people have different microbiomes. The composition depends on your diet. It depends on your genetics. It depends on your environment. It depends on whether you were breastfed as an infant. It depends on whether you have taken antibiotics. Antibiotics kill bacteria. They are essential for treating bacterial infections, but they also kill beneficial bacteria in your gut. This can disrupt your microbiome. After antibiotics, it can take weeks or months for your microbiome to recover. Your gut bacteria ferment fiber. Fermentation produces short-chain fatty acids. These fatty acids are absorbed by your large intestine. They provide energy to the cells lining your intestine. They may also have other health benefits. Fiber also adds bulk to stool. It makes stool easier to pass. This is why a diet high in fiber helps prevent constipation. After water is absorbed, the remaining material becomes feces. Feces are stored in the last part of your large intestine, called the rectum. When the rectum fills, stretch receptors send signals to your brain. You feel the urge to defecate. Like urination, defecation involves muscles you can control. The anal sphincters must relax. Abdominal muscles contract. Pressure increases in your abdomen. The feces are expelled. In infants, this is a reflex. Learning to control defecation is another developmental milestone. The entire process of digestion, from eating to elimination, takes about 24 to 72 hours. The time varies based on what you ate. It varies from person to person. Your digestive system operates largely independently of your conscious control. It has its own nervous system. This is called the enteric nervous system. It is sometimes called the second brain. The enteric nervous system contains about 100 million neurons. That is more neurons than in your spinal cord. These neurons control the movement of your digestive tract. They control the secretion of digestive juices. They sense the contents of your gut. The enteric nervous system communicates with your brain, but it can also function independently. Even if the connection to your brain is severed, your digestive system continues to work. This is remarkable. Most organs require input from the brain to function. Your digestive system does not. It can digest food and absorb nutrients without any input from your central nervous system. The enteric nervous system may also communicate with your brain in ways that affect your emotions. The gut-brain axis is an area of active research. Scientists are investigating how signals from your gut influence your mood, your stress levels, and your behavior. Some of these signals are carried by the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a large nerve that connects your brainstem to many organs: your heart, your lungs, your digestive tract. About 80% of the fibers in the vagus nerve carry information from your organs to your brain, not the other way around. This means your brain is constantly receiving information about what is happening in your body. Most of this information does not reach consciousness, but it influences your state. It influences your emotions. It influences your decisions. You may have experienced this as a gut feeling, a sense that something is right or wrong without knowing why. This may reflect unconscious processing of signals from your body. Your body and brain are not separate. They are parts of a single system. They influence each other constantly. Changes in your body affect your brain. Changes in your brain affect your body. When you feel an emotion, your body responds. Fear increases your heart rate. Sadness may make you feel tired. Anger may make your muscles tense. These are not just coincidences. Emotions are embodied. They involve both your brain and your body. The reverse is also true. Changes in your body can trigger emotions. Pain can lead to irritability. Hunger can lead to anxiety. Fatigue can lead to sadness. Taking care of your body helps take care of your mind. Sleep is fundamental to this care. During sleep, your brain and body recover. Waste products are cleared. Tissues are repaired. Memories are consolidated. Emotions are processed. Without adequate sleep, every system in your body is affected. Your immune system weakens. Your metabolism becomes dysregulated. Your cardiovascular system is stressed. Your cognitive function declines. Your emotional regulation suffers. Different people need different amounts of sleep. Most adults need 7 to 9 hours per night. Some people function well with less. Others need more. The key is whether you wake feeling rested. Whether you can stay alert during the day without caffeine or willpower. Sleep needs also change with age. Newborns sleep most of the day. Teenagers need more sleep than adults. Older adults often sleep less, though their need for sleep does not necessarily decrease. They may sleep less because of changes in sleep architecture. They spend less time in deep sleep. They wake more easily. The quality of sleep matters as much as the quantity. Interrupted sleep is not as restorative as continuous sleep. Continuous sleep allows you to complete multiple cycles through all the sleep stages. Each stage contributes something different to recovery. Light sleep, the first 2 stages, makes up about half your total sleep time. These stages are important for memory consolidation. They help you process information you learned during the day. They help you remember skills. They prepare your brain for deeper sleep. Deep sleep, stage 3, makes up about 15 to 25% of your sleep. This is when physical restoration is most active. Growth hormone is released. Tissue repair accelerates. Your immune system strengthens. Your brain clears waste products most efficiently. REM sleep also makes up about 20 to 25% of your sleep. This is when most vivid dreams occur. REM sleep is important for emotional processing. It helps you integrate experiences. It helps you regulate emotions. It supports creativity and problem solving. When sleep is disrupted, you may not get enough of each stage. If you wake frequently, you keep returning to light sleep. You may never reach deep sleep. You may have little REM sleep. Even if you spend 8 hours in bed, you may not get 8 hours of restorative sleep. Many things can disrupt sleep: pain, stress, anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, environmental factors like noise or light, substances like caffeine or alcohol. Caffeine blocks receptors for adenosine. Adenosine is a molecule that accumulates in your brain during wakefulness. The longer you are awake, the more adenosine accumulates. Adenosine makes you feel sleepy. It promotes sleep. Caffeine prevents this signal from being received. Caffeine has a half-life of about 5 hours. This means that 5 hours after you consume caffeine, half of it is still in your system. If you drink coffee at 3 in the afternoon, some caffeine remains in your system at bedtime. It may make it harder to fall asleep. It may reduce sleep quality. Alcohol has different effects. Alcohol is a sedative. It may help you fall asleep faster, but it disrupts sleep architecture. It reduces REM sleep. It causes more awakenings in the second half of the night. People who drink alcohol before bed often sleep poorly, even if they fall asleep quickly. Your sleep environment also matters. A dark room promotes melatonin production. Light, especially blue light, suppresses melatonin. This is why many sleep experts recommend avoiding screens before bed, or at least using settings that reduce blue light. Temperature also matters. A cool room promotes sleep. Your body temperature naturally drops as you prepare for sleep. A warm room works against this natural drop. Most people sleep best in a room that is around 18 degrees Celsius, or about 65 degrees Fahrenheit. This varies somewhat between individuals. Noise can disrupt sleep, even if it does not fully wake you. Consistent noise, like the sound of a fan, is less disruptive than intermittent noise, like traffic or a partner snoring. Some people use white noise machines to mask disruptive sounds. Your sleeping position can affect sleep quality. Sleeping on your back can worsen sleep apnea. Sleeping on your left side may reduce acid reflux. Sleeping in a position that strains your neck or back can cause pain that disrupts sleep. The mattress and pillow you use matter. They should support your body in a neutral position. What works best varies between people. It depends on your body shape. It depends on whether you sleep on your side, back, or stomach. It depends on personal preference. All of these factors are under your control. You can adjust them to improve your sleep. But some sleep problems require medical attention. Insomnia is difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. Occasional insomnia is common. It often occurs during times of stress. When the stress resolves, sleep usually returns to normal. Chronic insomnia is different. It persists for months or longer. It occurs at least 3 nights per week. It causes significant distress or impairment during the day. Chronic insomnia can be caused by many things: medical conditions, psychiatric conditions, medications, poor sleep habits. Treatment often involves cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. This is a structured program that helps change thoughts and behaviors that interfere with sleep. It is more effective than sleeping pills in the long term. Sleeping pills can be useful for short-term insomnia, but they have risks. They can be habit-forming. They can cause side effects. They can impair memory and coordination. They do not produce natural sleep. They sedate you, which is not the same thing. Your body's natural sleep is a complex, organized process. Sedation is simply reduced brain activity. The two are not equivalent. Other sleep disorders include narcolepsy, restless leg syndrome, and circadian rhythm disorders. Each has specific treatments. If you consistently have trouble sleeping, or if you are excessively sleepy during the day despite spending enough time in bed, you should consider consulting a doctor. Sleep is not optional. It is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity. Your body cannot function properly without it. Everything described so far, all the systems working in coordination, all the processes running in parallel, all of this requires balance. Balance between activity and rest. Balance between building up and breaking down. balance between energy intake and energy expenditure. Your metabolism is the sum of all chemical reactions in your body. Some reactions build complex molecules from simple ones. This requires energy. These are called anabolic reactions. Other reactions break complex molecules into simple ones. This releases energy. These are called catabolic reactions. Your metabolism is not fixed. It changes based on many factors: your age, your sex, your muscle mass, your activity level, your hormones, your genetics. Basal metabolic rate is the energy your body uses at complete rest. This is the energy needed to keep your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your brain functioning, your cells maintaining themselves. It accounts for about 60 to 75% of the energy most people use each day. Physical activity accounts for another 15 to 30%. This includes everything from walking to intense exercise. The more you move, the more energy you use. The remaining energy, about 10%, is used to digest, absorb, and process food. This is called the thermic effect of food. Protein has the highest thermic effect. Your body uses more energy to process protein than to process carbohydrates or fat. When you eat more energy than you use, the excess is stored, mostly as fat, but also as glycogen. When you use more energy than you eat, stored energy is released. Fat is broken down. Glycogen is broken down. You lose weight. This may sound simple, but in practice, it is complex. Your body does not respond mechanically to energy balance. Your metabolism adapts. Your hunger adapts. Your behavior adapts. When you eat less, your metabolism slows. Your body becomes more efficient. It tries to conserve energy. You may feel tired. You may move less. Your body temperature may drop slightly. All of these adaptations reduce energy expenditure. At the same time, hormones that stimulate hunger increase. Hormones that signal fullness decrease. You feel hungrier. Food becomes more appealing. It becomes harder to resist eating. These adaptations made sense in the environment where humans evolved. Food was often scarce. The ability to conserve energy during scarcity was an advantage. It helped survival. But in modern environments, where food is abundant, these adaptations can work against health. They make it difficult to maintain weight loss. They contribute to the high rate of weight regain after dieting. This does not mean weight loss is impossible, but it does mean that sustainable weight loss requires changes that can be maintained long-term. Not severe restriction that triggers strong adaptive responses. Exercise helps. It increases energy expenditure, builds muscle. Muscle tissue uses more energy than fat tissue, even at rest. Exercise also improves insulin sensitivity. It reduces inflammation. It improves mood. It helps with sleep. But exercise alone is usually not enough for significant weight loss. The energy cost of exercise is often less than people expect. An hour of moderate exercise might burn 300 calories. That is equivalent to a single piece of cake or a large sugary drink. This does not mean exercise is not worthwhile. Exercise has many benefits beyond weight loss. It reduces the risk of heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and dementia. It improves strength and balance. It reduces the risk of falls in older adults. It improves quality of life. The intensity and type of exercise matter. Aerobic exercise, like walking or running, improves cardiovascular fitness. It uses energy during the activity. Strength training builds muscle. It increases metabolism slightly. It improves bone density. It improves functional ability. Both types of exercise are beneficial. A balanced program includes both. It also includes flexibility work, especially as you age. Flexibility helps maintain range of motion. It reduces the risk of injury. Starting an exercise program can be challenging. If you have been inactive, your fitness level is low. Exercise feels difficult. You may feel discouraged. But fitness improves quickly with consistent practice. After a few weeks, what felt difficult becomes easier. You can do more. You recover faster. You start to feel the benefits. The key is consistency. Exercising occasionally provides little benefit. Exercising regularly, even in small amounts, provides substantial benefit. 30 minutes of moderate activity most days of the week is a common recommendation. But even 10 or 15 minutes is better than nothing. Moderate activity means activity that raises your heart rate and breathing. You should be able to talk, but not sing. Walking at a brisk pace counts. Gardening counts. Playing with children counts. It does not have to be formal exercise. As you age, maintaining physical activity becomes even more important. Muscle mass naturally declines with age. This is called sarcopenia. It begins in your 30s or 40s. It accelerates after age 60. Loss of muscle mass reduces strength. It reduces metabolism. It increases the risk of falls. It impairs the ability to perform daily activities. In severe cases, it leads to frailty. Strength training can prevent or reverse much of this loss. Even people in their 80s and 90s can build muscle with appropriate exercise. The adaptations may be slower than in younger people, but they still occur. Balance also declines with age. This increases the risk of falls. Falls are a major cause of injury and disability in older adults. Exercises that challenge balance can improve it. Tai Chi is one example. Yoga is another. Even simple exercises like standing on one foot can help. Your bones also change with age. Bone density peaks in your 20s or 30s. After that, it gradually declines. In women, the decline accelerates after menopause. This is because estrogen helps maintain bone density. When estrogen levels fall, bone loss accelerates. Low bone density increases the risk of fractures. Hip fractures are especially serious. They often lead to hospitalization. They can lead to permanent loss of independence. They increase the risk of death. Weight-bearing exercise helps maintain bone density. Walking, running, dancing. Activities where your bones support your weight. Swimming is excellent exercise, but it does not help bone density as much because the water supports your weight. Calcium and vitamin D are also important for bone health. Calcium is the main mineral in bone. Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium. Without enough of either, bones weaken. Dairy products are a common source of calcium. But calcium is also found in leafy green vegetables, fortified food, supplements. The amount you need depends on your age and sex. Most adults need about 1,000 milligrams per day. Women over 50 and men over 70 need more. Vitamin D is harder to get from food. Fatty fish contains some. Fortified milk contains some. But for most people, the main source is sunlight or supplements. As you age, your skin becomes less efficient at making vitamin D from sunlight. Your kidneys become less efficient at converting vitamin D to its active form. This is why vitamin D deficiency is common in older adults. Vitamin D deficiency is also common in people who spend little time outdoors. People who live in northern latitudes, people with dark skin. The melanin in dark skin reduces vitamin D production. Many doctors recommend vitamin D supplements, especially for older adults. The amount varies. Some recommend 400 to 800 international units per day. Others recommend higher doses, especially for people with low levels. Too much vitamin D can be harmful. It can cause calcium levels in your blood to become too high. This can damage your kidneys. It can cause nausea, weakness, and confusion. But this usually only occurs with very high doses taken over long periods. Most vitamins and minerals follow a similar pattern. You need enough. Too little causes deficiency. Too much can cause toxicity. The safe range varies between nutrients. Water-soluble vitamins, like vitamin C and the B vitamins, have a wide, safe range. Excess amounts are excreted in urine. Toxicity is rare. Fat-soluble vitamins, like vitamins A, D, E, and K, can accumulate in your body. Toxicity is more likely if you take very high doses. Minerals also vary. Iron is essential. Too little causes anemia. Too much can damage your liver and heart. Sodium is essential. Too little causes problems. Too much raises blood pressure in many people. Your body is remarkably good at regulating nutrient levels. It absorbs more when levels are low. It absorbs less when levels are adequate. It stores some nutrients. It excretes excess amounts of others. But this regulation has limits. If intake is consistently too high or too low, regulation cannot compensate. A balanced diet provides all the nutrients you need in appropriate amounts. Balanced means variety. Different foods contain different nutrients. Eating many different foods ensures you get everything. It means adequate protein. Protein provides amino acids. Your body needs 20 different amino acids to build proteins. It can make 11 of them. The other 9 must come from food. These are called essential amino acids. Animal foods contain all 9 essential amino acids in adequate amounts. Plant foods vary. Some are complete. Soy is complete. Quinoa is complete. Most plant foods are incomplete. They are low in one or more essential amino acids. But this is not a problem if you eat a variety of plant foods. The amino acids missing from one food are present in another. Over the course of a day, get all the amino acids you need. Your body needs adequate energy, not too much, not too little. If you consistently eat too little, you lose weight. Your body breaks down its own tissues. You lose muscle. You lose fat. In severe cases, you lose bone. You become malnourished. If you consistently eat too much, you gain weight, mostly as fat. Some fat is stored under your skin. Some is stored inside your abdomen, around your organs. This visceral fat is metabolically active. It releases hormones and inflammatory molecules. It increases the risk of diabetes, heart disease, and other conditions. Body weight is influenced by many factors. Genetics play a role. Some people naturally have higher metabolic rates. Some people naturally feel full after eating less food. Some people have stronger appetites. Environment plays a role. The availability of food, the types of food available, cultural norms around eating, stress levels, sleep quality, physical activity levels, psychological factors play a role. Emotional eating, eating in response to boredom or stress rather than hunger. Eating habits learned in childhood. All of these factors interact. They make simple advice like eat less, move more, inadequate. People know this. But knowledge alone does not change behavior. Behavior change is difficult. It requires overcoming habits. It requires resisting immediate rewards for long-term benefits. It requires support and resources. It requires addressing underlying psychological or social factors. This is true for any health behavior. Not just eating and exercise, also smoking, alcohol use, sleep habits, medication adherence, and so on. Your health is influenced by many things. Some are under your control. Some are not. Genetics are not under your control, but they are not destiny. Genes influence risk. They do not determine outcomes. Having a gene that increases risk for a disease does not mean you will get the disease. It means your risk is higher than someone without that gene. But risk can be modified by behavior and environment. For example, many genes influence the risk of type 2 diabetes, but lifestyle factors like diet and exercise also strongly influence risk. Someone with high genetic risk who maintains a healthy lifestyle may never develop diabetes. Someone with low genetic risk who is inactive and overweight may develop it. The same principle applies to heart disease, cancer, dementia, and many other conditions. Genes matter, but so do behaviors. Age is not under your control. Everyone ages. Aging is a gradual accumulation of damage. Damage to DNA, damage to proteins, damage to cells and tissues. The accumulation is inevitable. It leads to declining function. Eventually, it leads to death. But the rate of aging varies. Some people remain healthy and active into their 90s. Others develop chronic diseases in their 50s or 60s. Some of this variation is genetic. Some is due to lifestyle. Some is due to chance. Cells have mechanisms to repair damage. DNA repair enzymes fix mutations. Protein quality control systems remove damaged proteins. Autophagy, a process where cells digest their own damaged components, cleans up cellular debris. These repair mechanisms work well when you are young. They work less well as you age. Damage accumulates faster than it is repaired. Cells stop dividing. They become senescent. Senescent cells do not die. They remain in tissues. They secrete inflammatory molecules. They impair the function of neighboring cells. Senescent cells accumulate with age. They contribute to aging and age-related diseases. Some researchers are investigating ways to remove senescent cells. In animal studies, removing senescent cells can improve health and extend lifespan. But such interventions are still experimental. They are not yet available for human use. For now, the best approach to healthy aging is to maintain healthy behaviors. Stay physically active. Eat a balanced diet. Maintain social connections. Keep your mind engaged. Manage stress. Sleep well. Avoid smoking. Limit alcohol. These behaviors do not stop aging, but they slow the accumulation of damage. They maintain function longer. They increase the likelihood of remaining independent and active in older age. Social connections are important for health. Loneliness and social isolation increase the risk of many conditions: depression, anxiety, heart disease, stroke, dementia. The effects are comparable to other major risk factors like smoking or obesity. This may seem surprising. How could social connections affect physical health? The mechanisms are not fully understood. But social connections affect behavior. They affect stress levels. They affect immune function. People with strong social connections are more likely to engage in healthy behaviors. They exercise more. They eat better. They are less likely to smoke or drink excessively. They are more likely to seek medical care when needed. Social connections also buffer stress. Stress activates the fight or flight response. Chronic activation of this response is harmful. Social support reduces the perception of threat. It reduces the stress response. Social connections may also affect immune function directly. Studies have found differences in immune markers between people who are socially connected and those who are isolated. The exact mechanisms are still being investigated. Mental engagement is also important for brain health. Learning new things, solving problems, reading, playing games. These activities challenge your brain. They may promote the formation of new connections between neurons. They may build cognitive reserve. Cognitive reserve is the brain's resilience to damage. Two people can have the same amount of brain pathology, like the plaques and tangles seen in Alzheimer's disease. But one person may have symptoms, while the other does not. The difference may be cognitive reserve. People with more education, more mentally demanding occupations, and more engagement in mentally stimulating activities tend to have more cognitive reserve. Their brains can compensate for damage better. This does not prevent damage from occurring, but it delays the point at which damage causes noticeable symptoms. Physical activity also protects brain health. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain. It promotes the growth of new blood vessels. It promotes the release of growth factors that support neuron survival and growth. Exercise reduces inflammation. Chronic inflammation is associated with many age-related diseases, including dementia. Exercise also improves sleep, reduces stress, and improves mood. All of these benefit brain health. Diet affects brain health as well. Some dietary patterns are associated with lower risk of cognitive decline. The Mediterranean diet is one example. It emphasizes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, fish, olive oil, and nuts. It limits red meat and processed foods. The mechanisms are not fully understood. But this dietary pattern provides antioxidants, healthy fats, and other nutrients that may protect the brain. It reduces inflammation. It improves vascular health. Healthy blood vessels are essential for brain health. Your brain is metabolically demanding. It requires a constant supply of oxygen and glucose. If blood flow to the brain is reduced, even briefly, brain cells begin to die. This is what happens in a stroke. But even without a stroke, reduced blood flow can damage the brain. Small areas of damage accumulate over time. This is called vascular cognitive impairment. It can cause memory problems, slowed thinking, and difficulty with executive functions like planning and organizing. Maintaining vascular health protects brain health. Control blood pressure, control cholesterol, control blood sugar. Do not smoke. These interventions reduce the risk of vascular damage throughout the body, including the brain. Your body's systems are interconnected. What affects one system often affects others. This is why taking care of your whole body is important. You cannot optimize one system while neglecting others. Your heart depends on healthy blood vessels. Your blood vessels depend on healthy metabolism. Your metabolism depends on healthy hormone balance. Your hormones depend on healthy organs that produce them. Those organs depend on nutrients, oxygen, and blood flow. Everything is connected. Everything influences everything else. This is the nature of complex systems. Your body is the most complex system you will ever encounter. Trillions of cells, hundreds of organs and structures, thousands of chemical reactions happening every second. All coordinated, all balanced, all working toward a common goal, keeping you alive, keeping you functional. And most of this happens without your awareness, without your effort. While you sleep, while you rest, while you go about your day, your body maintains itself. It adapts to changing conditions. It repairs damage. It fights off threats. This maintenance is not perfect. Mistakes happen. Damage accumulates. Systems gradually decline. But for decades, the body manages to maintain enough function to support life, to support thought, to support experience. You are not separate from your body. You are your body. Your thoughts arise from the electrical and chemical activity of your neurons. Your emotions arise from the interaction of your brain and body. Your consciousness, whatever it is, emerges from the physical processes happening in your brain. This does not diminish you. It does not make you less. It makes you remarkable. The fact that matter, organized in a particular way, can think, can feel, can be aware of itself, is extraordinary. Right now, as you rest, billions of processes are unfolding. Oxygen molecules are being carried to cells. ATP is being generated in mitochondria. Proteins are being assembled from amino acids. Waste products are being removed. DNA is being repaired. Immune cells are patrolling for threats. Your heart is beating. Your lungs are breathing. Your digestive system is processing. Your kidneys are filtering. Your liver is metabolizing. Your brain is consolidating memories, processing emotions, maintaining your internal state. All of this happens in coordination. All of this happens in balance. All of this happens without conscious direction. The rhythm continues. The cycle repeats. Inhale, exhale. Heartbeat, pause, heartbeat. Day follows night. Night follows day. Sleep and wakefulness alternate. This rhythm is ancient. It is shared by nearly all living things. It is driven by the rotation of the earth, by the cycle of light and dark. Your body is tuned to this rhythm. Your genes express themselves in daily patterns. Your hormones rise and fall. Your temperature fluctuates. Your alertness waxes and wanes. Respecting this rhythm supports health. Going against it, working at night, sleeping during the day, irregular schedules, disrupts your body. Internal timing. Your body never fully adapts. Different systems desynchronize. This increases stress on the body. It increases the risk of disease. Modern life often requires schedule flexibility. Shift work, travel across time zones, late nights. But these disruptions have costs. If unavoidable, steps can be taken to minimize harm. Maintain consistent sleep schedules as much as possible. Seek bright light at appropriate times. Avoid light at inappropriate times. Prioritize sleep even when the schedule is challenging. Your body has limits. It can adapt to challenges, but adaptation takes time, and there are limits to how much it can adapt. Pushing consistently beyond those limits causes breakdown. Rest is not weakness. Rest is essential. It is when your body repairs and restores itself. Without adequate rest, performance declines. Health suffers. The risk of injury and illness increases. You live in a world that often devalues rest, that celebrates busyness, that equates productivity with worth. But your body does not follow those values. Your body requires rest. It requires downtime. It requires sleep. Ignoring these requirements does not make them go away. It only delays the consequences. Eventually, the body demands what it needs. Through fatigue, through illness, through inability to function. Listening to your body is a skill. Modern life often teaches you to ignore body signals, to push through fatigue, to suppress hunger or ignore it, to override discomfort. Sometimes this is necessary, but as a constant practice, it is harmful. Your body communicates through sensations. Hunger signals the need for food. Thirst signals the need for water. Fatigue signals the need for rest. Pain signals damage or threat. These signals evolved to help you survive. Ignoring them consistently works against your well-being. Learning to interpret these signals takes practice. Hunger, for example, can be confused with thirst, boredom, or emotional need. True physical hunger has certain characteristics. It builds gradually. It is satisfied by food. Any food will do, though you may prefer certain foods. Emotional hunger is different. It comes on suddenly. It demands specific foods, usually sweet or high-fat foods. It is not satisfied by eating. You may eat a large amount and still feel unsatisfied. Learning the difference helps you respond appropriately. If you are physically hungry, eat. If you are emotionally hungry, eating will not solve the problem. You need something else. Rest, connection, stress relief, something to address the underlying need. The same applies to fatigue. Physical fatigue is relieved by rest. Mental fatigue is different. It may be relieved by a change of activity. If you have been thinking hard, physical activity might help. If you have been physically active, mental rest might help. Your body is wise in its way. It has evolved over millions of years to maintain itself. The mechanisms are not perfect, but they are sophisticated. They handle an enormous range of challenges and circumstances. Trusting your body does not mean abandoning reason or medical advice. Sometimes body signals are misleading. Pain can occur without damage. Lack of thirst can occur despite dehydration. Certain medical conditions disrupt normal signaling. But in general, paying attention to your body, learning its patterns, responding to its needs, supports health. Your body is not your enemy. It is not something to be controlled or overridden. It is you. Taking care of it is taking care of yourself. As you rest now, your body is doing its work. You do not need to do anything. You do not need to monitor or control anything. The systems know what to do. They have been doing it since before you were born. They will continue until life ends. This is both humbling and reassuring. Humbling because so much of what you are is beyond your conscious control. Reassuring because you do not have to manage everything. The essential functions continue automatically. Your role is to support these processes. 2. Provide what your body needs. Food, water, sleep, movement, safety. To avoid things that harm it. To listen when it signals that something is wrong. In return, your body supports your life. It carries you through the world. It allows you to experience, to think, to feel, to connect with others, to pursue what matters to you. This partnership works best when both sides are respected, when you care for your body and when you listen to what it needs. The breath continues, slow and steady. The heart beats, the blood flows, the cells carry out their functions. The whole vast network of processes continues, coordinated, balanced, sustaining life. Nothing is truly separate. Your lungs depend on your heart. Your heart depends on your brain. Your brain depends on your blood. Your blood depends on your bone marrow, your liver, your kidneys. Every part depends on every other part. This interdependence is what makes life possible, and also what makes it fragile. A problem in one system can cascade into others. A blocked artery damages the heart. A damaged heart cannot pump effectively. Poor pumping reduces oxygen delivery. Reduced oxygen impairs every tissue. But the interdependence also provides resilience. Systems compensate for each other. If one kidney fails, the other increases its function. If part of the liver is damaged, the rest grows. If some neurons die, neighboring neurons can take over some functions. The body has redundancy built in. 2 kidneys, though one is enough. 2 lungs, though one can sustain life. Extra capacity in most organs. Most of the time, you use only a fraction of your body's full capacity. The rest is reserve. It is there for times of increased demand or when damage occurs. This reserve decreases with age. The maximum capacity of your heart decreases. The maximum capacity of your lungs decreases. Your kidneys filter less. Your muscles generate less force. Your bones are weaker. But even in old age, the reserve is usually enough for normal activities. Problems arise when disease reduces capacity further, or when multiple systems decline simultaneously. Then reserve is exhausted. The body can no longer compensate. Function declines noticeably. This is frailty. It is not an inevitable part of aging. Some people reach very old age without becoming frail. Others become frail much younger. The difference is partly genetic, partly lifestyle, partly luck. But even in frailty, the body continues trying. It continues maintaining. It continues adapting as best it can. The processes do not stop until death. Death is the final failure of homeostasis, the point at which the body can no longer maintain the conditions necessary for life. Usually one system fails first. The heart stops. Breathing stops. But quickly, all systems fail. Without circulation, cells cannot receive oxygen. Without oxygen, they cannot produce energy. Without energy, they cannot maintain themselves. They break down. But before that point, even in illness, even in decline, the body works to maintain life, to repair, to adapt, to continue. This persistence is built into the nature of life. Every cell carries instructions to maintain itself, to reproduce if it can, to carry out its functions as long as possible. These instructions are in the DNA. They are executed by the cellular machinery. They are the same instructions that have been passed down through billions of years of evolution. You are the current expression of an unbroken chain. Every one of your ancestors, going back to the first living cell, survived long enough to reproduce. Their DNA was passed on, modified slightly each generation, tested against the environment, shaped by selection. The result is you, a human body, a human brain, a human life, capable of thinking about itself, capable of understanding, at least partially, how it works, capable of caring for itself, capable of choosing actions that support health. This capability is recent in evolutionary terms. For most of life's history, organisms simply responded to their environment. They had no understanding, no choice, no ability to think about what would happen tomorrow or next year. Humans can think ahead, can plan, can choose to do things that are difficult now because they will be beneficial later. This is a powerful ability, but it is also a burden. Choice brings responsibility. Knowledge brings awareness of consequences. You know that your actions affect your health. You know that eating poorly, sleeping poorly, being inactive, all have consequences. This knowledge can be motivating. It can help you make good choices, but it can also be overwhelming. There are so many recommendations, so many things you should do. Exercise, eat vegetables, sleep 8 hours, manage stress, connect with others, avoid smoking, limit alcohol. The list goes on. No one does everything perfectly. Everyone makes trade-offs. Everyone has constraints. Time, money, energy, circumstances. Health is important, but it is not the only thing that matters. The goal is not perfection. The goal is balance. Doing enough to support health without sacrificing everything else. Finding sustainable practices that fit your life. Small changes maintained over time have more impact than dramatic changes that cannot be sustained. Walking for 20 minutes most days is better than running for an hour once and then quitting. Eating one more serving of vegetables each day is better than a strict diet you abandon after a week. Your body responds to averages. What you do most of the time matters more than what you do occasionally. Occasional indulgences do not ruin health if your usual habits are good. Occasional healthy choices do not create health if your usual habits are poor. Consistency matters more than intensity. Sustainability matters more than perfection. And context matters. What is healthy for one person may not be for another. Bodies differ. Needs differ. Circumstances differ. Health. Recommendations are generalizations. They apply to most people most of the time, but not to everyone all the time. This is why medicine is both a science and an art. The science provides general principles. The art is applying those principles to individual people in their unique circumstances. You are unique. Your genetics are unique. Your life experiences are unique. Your current circumstances are unique. What works for someone else may not work for you. What worked for you in the past may not work now. This requires attention, awareness, willingness to adjust. What matters is finding what supports your health and well-being in your life as it is. Your body right now is the product of everything that has come before. Your genetics, your development in the womb, your birth, your childhood, every meal you have eaten, every movement you have made, every illness, every injury, every night of sleep or lack of sleep. All of it has shaped your current state. And your current state will shape your future. The choices you make today affect tomorrow. The habits you maintain affect the trajectory of your health. Not deterministically. There is randomness. There are factors beyond your control. But there is also influence. Your actions matter. This can feel like pressure, but it can also feel like agency. You have some control. Not total control, but some. Within the constraints of your circumstances, you can make choices that support your well-being. And you do not have to make those choices alone. You can seek support from friends and family, from healthcare providers, from communities. Humans are social. We evolved to help each other. Seeking help is not weakness. It is practical. Your body will continue its work whether you think about it or not. The processes will continue. The systems will maintain themselves as best they can. Your conscious role is to provide what they need and avoid what harms them. As you rest now, you are supporting those processes. Rest is active recovery. It is not doing nothing. It is allowing your body to do what it does best, to repair, to restore, to prepare for what comes next. The systems work in silence, in darkness, without fanfare. They do not demand attention. They do not ask for thanks. They simply continue, breath after breath, heartbeat after heartbeat, moment after moment. This continuation is life. It is ordinary and extraordinary at the same time. Ordinary because it happens constantly. Extraordinary because it is complex beyond full comprehension. Because it is improbable. Because it is finite. Each body eventually fails. Each life eventually ends. This is not morbid. It is simply true. Understanding this can help clarify what matters, can help you prioritize, can help you appreciate what you have while you have it. Your body is functioning now. It is maintaining life. It is allowing you to experience this moment, whatever this moment holds. Ara 2025. The moment passes, another arrives. Time moves forward in a continuous stream. Your body moves with it. always changing, never quite the same from one second to the next. Cells divide. Old cells are replaced by new ones. The atoms that make up your body are not the same atoms that made it up a year ago. Food becomes you. You become waste. The material changes, but the pattern persists. The organization continues. This constant renewal is essential. If cells could not be replaced, wounds would never heal. Worn-out tissues would never be restored. The accumulation of damage would be rapid and irreversible. Your skin completely replaces itself every few weeks. The surface layer is shed. New cells rise from below. Your intestinal lining replaces itself even faster. Every few days, the cells that line your gut are completely renewed. Other tissues turn over more slowly. Your liver replaces itself over months. Your bones remodel over years. Some cells, like most neurons and heart muscle cells, last your entire life. They are not replaced. When they die, they are lost. This is why brain injuries and heart attacks can cause permanent damage. The tissue cannot fully regenerate. Scar tissue may form. Function may be permanently reduced. But even these long-lived cells are maintained. Their components are replaced. Proteins are degraded and rebuilt. Membranes are refreshed. The cell persists, but its contents are constantly renewed. This means you are both continuous and changing. You are the same person you were years ago in pattern and organization, but you are not the same in material substance. Almost nothing physical about you is the same. This applies to your brain as well. Your memories, your personality, your sense of self. They persist even though the neurons that hold them are constantly replacing their internal components. The information persists even as the physical substrate changes. This is possible because what matters is not the specific atoms or molecules. What matters is the relationships between them, the way they are organized, the patterns they form. Information can persist across changing substrates. A book remains the same book even if it is reprinted with different paper and ink. A song remains the same song whether played on a piano or a guitar. The information is separate from the physical form. Your memories work similarly. They are patterns of connections between neurons, patterns of synaptic strengths. These patterns can persist even as the molecules within the synapses are replaced. But memories are not perfect recordings. Each time you recall a memory, you reconstruct it. The reconstruction is influenced by your current state, by your current knowledge, by what you expect or want to remember. This means memories change over time. They become distorted. Details are lost or altered. False details can be added. You may remember things that never happened, or remember them differently than they occurred. This is not a flaw in the sense of being a design error. Memory evolved not to preserve perfect records of the past. It evolved to help you navigate the future, to recognize patterns, to predict what might happen, to learn from experience. Perfect recording would require enormous storage capacity. It would be inefficient. What matters is extracting useful information from experience. The gist, the meaning, the patterns that might apply to new situations. Your brain is constantly predicting. It predicts what will happen next based on what has happened before. Most of these predictions are unconscious. They happen automatically. They shape your perception. When you walk, your brain predicts what sensations you will feel. When the predictions match the actual sensations, you do not notice. When they do not match, you pay attention. Something unexpected has happened. a loose step, an uneven surface. Your attention is drawn. You adjust. This prediction applies to everything: visual perception, auditory perception, your sense of your body's position and movement, even your sense of time. Time perception is subjective. It varies with circumstances. When you are engaged in something interesting, time seems to pass quickly. When you are bored or waiting, time seems to slow. When you are frightened, moments can seem to stretch. These variations reflect how your brain processes information. When something is new and demands attention, your brain encodes more details. Later, when you remember that period, the richness of detail makes it seem longer in retrospect. When something is routine and requires little attention, your brain encodes less. Later, that period seems brief. This is why childhood seems long when you are living it, but brief when you look back. Why time seems to accelerate as you age. As a child, everything is new. Every experience is being encoded richly. Years contain enormous amounts of new information. They seem long in memory. As an adult, more is routine. More is predicted. Less demands full attention. The years contain less novelty. They seem shorter in retrospect. This is one reason why new experiences are valued. Travel, learning new skills, meeting new people. They break routine. They demand attention. They create memories that feel substantial. But routine also has value. Routine is efficient. It frees cognitive resources for other things. It provides stability. It reduces stress. A life of constant novelty would be exhausting. Balance is needed here as well. Enough novelty to keep life interesting. Enough routine to provide stability and efficiency. Your brain manages both. It can focus intensely on new information. It can also operate on autopilot, handling familiar tasks with minimal conscious involvement. When you first learn to drive, it requires complete attention. You have to think about every action: checking mirrors, signaling, steering, braking. It is mentally exhausting. After months or years of practice, driving becomes automatic. You can do it. While talking, listening to music, thinking about other things. Your brain has learned the patterns. It can execute them without conscious supervision. This automaticity applies to many skills: walking, riding a bicycle, typing, playing a musical instrument. With practice, the conscious mind can step back. The actions flow without deliberate control. This is efficient. But it can also lead to errors. When you operate on autopilot, you may not notice when circumstances change. You may take a wrong turn because you were thinking about something else. You may put your keys in the wrong place. You may forget what you were doing. Attention is limited. You cannot consciously process everything at once. You select what seems important. Everything else is processed minimally or ignored. This selective attention is necessary. The world contains far more information than your brain can handle. Without selection, you would be overwhelmed. You would be unable to function. But selection means you miss things, even obvious things sometimes. This is demonstrated in studies of inattentional blindness. People asked to count basketball passes fail to notice someone in a gorilla suit walking through the scene. They are attending to the passes. The gorilla is unexpected. Their brain filters it out. This happens in everyday life as well. You fail to notice things that are right in front of you because your attention is elsewhere. This is normal, but it means your perception of the world is incomplete. You see and hear and feel only a fraction of what is actually there. Your brain fills in the gaps. It uses predictions and assumptions to create a coherent experience. Usually this works. The predictions are accurate. You navigate the world successfully. But sometimes the predictions are wrong. You misperceive. You see movement that is not there. You hear words that were not spoken. You feel sensations that have no external cause. This is more common when you are tired or stressed. When your brain is not functioning optimally, the predictions become less accurate. The filtering becomes less precise. Sleep deprivation impairs all cognitive functions: attention, memory, decision-making, reaction time. After being awake for 24 hours, your cognitive impairment is similar to being legally drunk. Yet people often underestimate the effects of sleep loss. They think they are functioning better than they are. This is partly because sleep deprivation impairs your ability to assess your own impairment. You do not realize how much you are struggling. This makes sleep deprivation dangerous. People drive when they should not. They make important decisions when their judgment is compromised. They perform tasks that require precision and attention when they cannot maintain focus. Chronic partial sleep deprivation has similar effects. Even losing just 1 or 2 hours of sleep per night, if sustained over weeks, significantly impairs function. The effects accumulate. Sleep debt builds. You cannot fully adapt to insufficient sleep. Your body continues to suffer the consequences. The effects may be less noticeable after a while. You may feel you have adjusted. But objective measures show continued impairment. The only way to recover is to get adequate sleep. Sleep debt cannot be fully repaid by sleeping in on weekends. Chronic deprivation requires sustained recovery. Days or weeks of adequate sleep to restore normal function. This is why consistent sleep schedules are important. Going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time each day, even on weekends, helps maintain your circadian rhythm. It helps ensure adequate sleep. It improves sleep quality. Your body anticipates your sleep schedule. If you usually go to bed at 10, your body begins preparing around 9. Melatonin rises. Body temperature drops. Alertness declines. You feel sleepy at the expected time. If you stay up much later, you fight against these biological preparations. It feels difficult. You may need stimulants like caffeine to stay awake. But this disrupts your rhythm. It makes sleep more difficult when you finally try. It reduces sleep quality. If you do this occasionally, your body can adjust. But frequent schedule changes, like rotating shift work or severe social jet lag, prevent your body from ever fully settling into a rhythm. Your internal time never matches the external demands. You exist in a state of constant desynchronization. This is stressful for the body. It increases inflammation. It disrupts metabolism. It impairs immune function. It increases the risk of many diseases. This is why shift workers have higher rates of obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. Light exposure is the most powerful signal for synchronizing your circadian rhythm. Bright light in the morning advances your rhythm. It helps you wake earlier. Bright light in the evening delays your rhythm. It helps you stay up later. This can be used strategically. If you need to shift your schedule earlier, expose yourself to bright light in the morning. Avoid bright light in the evening. If you need to shift your schedule later, do the opposite. Blue light, the wavelength emitted by screens and LED lights, is particularly effective at suppressing melatonin. This is why using screens before bed can interfere with sleep. The light signals your brain that it is still daytime. Melatonin release is delayed. You feel less sleepy. Reducing screen time in the evening helps. Using settings that reduce blue light helps somewhat, though they are not as effective as simply avoiding screens. Reading a physical book with dim, warm light is better for sleep than reading on a tablet. Darkness promotes sleep. This is why blackout curtains can be helpful. Even small amounts of light during sleep can be disruptive. Light leaking around curtains, the glow of electronic devices, street lights through windows. Some people are more sensitive to light during sleep than others. If you find you sleep better in complete darkness, it is worth making your bedroom as dark as possible. Sound also affects sleep quality. As mentioned before, consistent background noise is less disruptive than intermittent noise. But silence is best if you can achieve it. Earplugs can help. White noise machines can mask disruptive sounds. Your bedroom environment matters. It should be associated with sleep. If you work in your bedroom, watch television in bed, spend hours on your phone in bed, your brain does not associate the bedroom with sleep. It becomes harder to fall asleep there. Using your bed only for sleep and sex strengthens the association between bed and sleep. Your brain learns. When you get into bed, it prepares for sleep. You fall asleep more easily. If you cannot fall asleep after about 20 minutes, it is better to get up. Do something quiet and relaxing in dim light. Return to bed when you feel sleepy. This prevents your brain from associating bed with wakefulness and frustration. Sleep is a skill in some ways. It can be practiced and improved. The practices may seem simple: regular schedule, dark room, cool temperature, quiet, comfortable bed, relaxing pre-bed routine, avoid caffeine and alcohol, avoid large meals close to bedtime, avoid screens. But simple does not mean easy. Implementing these practices requires consistency. It requires prioritizing sleep. It requires saying no to things that interfere with sleep. Modern culture often does not support this. Late-night entertainment, social events, work demands, the expectation of constant availability, the glorification of busyness. All of these work against adequate sleep. Choosing sleep can feel like missing out, but the consequences of chronic sleep deprivation are real. The impaired function, the increased disease risk, the reduced quality of life. The costs are high. Sleep is not wasted time. It is essential time. It is when your body and brain restore themselves. It is an investment in function and health. The same principle applies to rest more generally. Rest does not mean doing nothing, though sometimes doing nothing is exactly what is needed. Rest means recovery. It means activities that restore rather than deplete. What is restful varies between people. For some, reading is restful. For others, it is mentally demanding. For some, socializing is energizing. For others, it is draining. For some, exercise is restorative. For others, it is exhausting. Understanding what restores you is important. Building those activities into your life is important. Otherwise, you operate in a constant state of depletion. You run on reserves. Eventually, the reserves are exhausted. Burnout is the result of prolonged depletion, physical and emotional exhaustion, reduced sense of accomplishment, detachment, cynicism. It affects work performance. It affects relationships. It affects health. Recovery from burnout requires sustained rest. Not just a vacation, not just a weekend off. Weeks or months of reduced demands and increased restoration. This is difficult in practice. Most people cannot afford extended time off. Demands do not disappear. Prevention is easier than treatment. Pacing yourself, recognizing limits, building rest into your routine before depletion becomes severe. These practices prevent burnout more effectively than trying to recover from it. Your body gives signals when it is depleted. Persistent fatigue, frequent illness, difficulty concentrating, irritability, loss of motivation, physical symptoms like headaches or digestive problems. These are not signs of weakness, they are information. Your body is telling you something needs to change. Listening to these signals requires pausing, paying attention, being willing to adjust. Sometimes the needed change is obvious. You are not sleeping enough. You are working too much. You are not eating well. Sometimes the change is less clear. It requires reflection, perhaps experimentation. This is another form of self-care. Not the commercialized version involving products and pampering, the real version. Paying attention to yourself, meeting your actual needs, making adjustments that support your well-being. Self-care includes physical care, sleep, nutrition, movement, medical care when needed. It also includes psychological care, managing stress, processing emotions, maintaining relationships, engaging in meaningful activities. Meaning matters for well-being. People who feel their lives have meaning report greater life satisfaction. They have better mental health. They may even have better physical health. Meaning can come from many sources: work, relationships, creativity, spirituality, service to others, learning, creating, building, contributing. What matters is that you find what is meaningful to you, not what others say should be meaningful, what actually feels meaningful in your experience. Meaning is not the same as happiness. Meaningful activities can be difficult. They can involve struggle and sacrifice, but they provide a sense of purpose, a sense that your life and efforts matter. This sustains you through difficulties in a way that pursuing only pleasure and comfort cannot. Your well-being depends on multiple dimensions: physical health, mental health, social connection, meaning and purpose, material security. All of these interact. Neglecting any one of them affects the others. This is why reductionist approaches to health and well-being often fail. Focusing only on physical health while ignoring mental health does not work. Focusing only on individual factors while ignoring social context does not work. Everything is connected. Your body exists in a social and environmental context. That context affects your health. Stress at work affects your blood pressure. Air pollution affects your lungs. Social isolation affects your immune system. Poverty affects nutrition, medical care, stress levels, and countless other factors. Some of these contextual factors you can change, some you cannot. This does not mean you are helpless, but it does mean that individual actions have limits. Health is not entirely a matter of personal choice and responsibility. Recognizing this can reduce shame and self-blame. If you struggle with health issues, it is not necessarily because you are not trying hard enough. Many factors are at play. Some are beyond your control. This recognition should not lead to passivity. You still have agency. Within your constraints, you can make choices that support well-being, but you can do so without the burden of believing that everything is entirely up to you. Your body is doing its part. Right now, it is maintaining life. It is adapting to conditions as they are. It is working with the resources available to it. It will continue to do so as long as it can. Your circulatory system continues. Blood flows through thousands of miles of vessels, through arteries, capillaries, veins, carrying oxygen and nutrients, removing waste, maintaining pressure, adjusting flow to meet changing demands. Your respiratory system continues, bringing oxygen in, releasing carbon dioxide, adjusting rate and depth to maintain balance, protecting airways from foreign particles, warming and humidifying air before it reaches your lungs. Your digestive system continues, breaking down food, absorbing nutrients, housing beneficial bacteria, producing hormones that signal fullness and hunger, moving waste toward elimination. Your urinary system continues, filtering blood, regulating fluid balance, regulating salt balance, regulating pH, excreting waste. Your nervous system continues, monitoring internal conditions, monitoring external conditions, coordinating responses, maintaining consciousness when awake, processing information during sleep. Your endocrine system continues, producing hormones, regulating metabolism, regulating growth and development, regulating reproduction, coordinating the functions of distant organs. Your immune system continues, patrolling for threats, remembering past infections, responding to injuries, cleaning up damaged cells, maintaining tolerance to your own tissues. Your musculoskeletal system continues, supporting your body, enabling movement, protecting internal organs, storing minerals, producing blood cells in bone marrow. Your integumentary system, your skin, continues, forming a barrier, preventing water loss, sensing touch, temperature, pain, protecting against infection, producing vitamin D. All of these systems, all of these processes, all of these cells, working continuously, coordinated by chemical signals and electrical signals and mechanical forces, balanced by feedback loops, maintained by constant turnover and repair. This is what is happening right now. As you rest, as your mind drifts, as your awareness fades or remains, the body continues. It does not stop. It does not pause. It works through the night, through sleep, through waking, through every moment of life. The complexity is staggering. Thousands of types of molecules, hundreds of types of cells, dozens of organs, all functioning in parallel, all influencing each other, all somehow coordinated into a coherent whole. No engineer could design this. No computer could simulate it in complete detail. It is too complex, too interconnected, too dynamic. It emerges from billions of years of evolution, of trial and error, of selection for what works. What works is not optimal in an engineering sense. Evolution does not produce perfect designs. It produces designs that are good enough to survive and reproduce. Designs that work within constraints. Designs built on what came before. This is why your body has quirks and inefficiencies. Why you have an appendix that serves little function and can cause problems. Why your eyes have a blind spot. Why your spine is prone to problems because it was originally designed for four-legged locomotion. But despite these quirks, despite the inefficiencies, it works. It works well enough. Well enough that humans have spread across the planet, have built civilizations, have created art and science, have pondered their own existence. Your existence depends on this collection of systems and processes. Everything you experience, everything you think and feel, everything you do, it all depends on the proper functioning of your body. When the body fails, experience ends. There is no evidence of consciousness existing apart from a functioning brain. No evidence of life after the body dies. This may be a comforting belief for some, but it is not supported by science. What we observe is that consciousness depends on brain activity. When brain activity stops, consciousness stops. When parts of the brain are damaged, aspects of consciousness are lost. The self is not separate from the body. It is produced by the body, specifically by the brain. This materialist understanding need not be bleak. It makes the time you have more precious, not less. This is your life, these years, these days, this moment. There is no evidence of another. This is it. How you spend this time matters. Not in a cosmic sense, the universe does not care, but in a personal sense, to you, to the people around you. Your choices shape your experience. They shape others' experiences. They matter in that sense. Your body enables those choices. It gives you the capacity to act, to move through the world, to interact with others, to pursue what matters to you. Taking care of it preserves that capacity for as long as possible. The body is temporary. This is not news to you. You have seen others age. Perhaps you have seen others die. You know your own body will age, will eventually fail, will die. This knowledge can motivate care, can help you appreciate what you have, can help you make choices aligned with longer-term well-being rather than only immediate gratification. But it should not lead to fear or obsession. Health is important, but it is not the only thing that matters. Life is for living, not just for preservation. Balance again. Taking reasonable care of yourself while also engaging with life. Experiencing things, taking risks, living fully within the time you have. Your body will age regardless of what you do. You cannot prevent it. You can influence the trajectory somewhat. You can maintain function longer. You can reduce the risk of disease. But you cannot stop aging. You cannot avoid death. This is universal. This has always been true. Every human who has ever lived has aged and died. You are not an exception. You will not be an exception. Accepting this can bring a kind of peace. You are part of something larger than yourself, part of the human experience across time, part of the cycle of life. Your individual existence is temporary, but you are connected to everything that has come before, everything that will come after. Your atoms came from stars. They were forged in nuclear reactions, scattered into space when stars exploded, eventually incorporated into the cloud of gas and dust that formed the solar system, the Earth, the first living things. Those atoms have cycled through countless organisms over billions of years. They have been part of bacteria, part of plants, part of animals. Now they are part of you. Later, they will be part of something else. The atoms persist. The patterns change. You are a temporary pattern, a temporary organization of matter, here briefly, then gone. But while here, alive, aware, experiencing, this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. This is all there ever is. The past is memory, the future is imagination. Only now is real, only now is experienced. Your body exists only now. Yes, it carries the effects of the past. Yes, it moves toward a future. But it functions only in the present moment. Each breath is now. Each heartbeat is now. Being aware of this can change how you experience life, can help you be more present, more engaged, less lost in worry about the future or rumination about the past. Your body is always in the present. Your mind often is not. Your mind time travels. It revisits the past. It projects into the future. This ability is useful. It allows planning. It allows learning from experience. But it can also be a source of suffering. Ori is living in an imagined future. Rumination is living in the remembered past. Neither is the present. Neither is what is actually happening now. What is happening now is breath, is heartbeat, is blood flowing, is cells functioning, is sensation, is awareness. This is always available to you. You can always return to now, to what is actually happening, to your direct experience. This is why practices like meditation and mindfulness have become popular. They train you to be present, to notice when your mind has wandered, to return attention to the current moment. These practices have measurable effects. They reduce stress, they improve mood, they may even improve immune function and slow aspects of aging. The effects are modest but real. But you do not need formal practice to benefit from presence. Simply pausing occasionally throughout your day, noticing your breath, noticing sensations in your body, noticing your surroundings. This brings you back to now. It interrupts the cycle of worry and rumination. It provides a moment of rest for your mind. Your body is always inviting you to the present. Every sensation, every breath, every heartbeat. These are anchors to now. They are always available. Right now, your body is here, supporting you, maintaining you, doing its work. You do not need to manage it. You do not need to control it. It knows what to do. It has been doing it all along. Your only task is to allow it, to not interfere unnecessarily, to provide what it needs, to rest when rest is needed, to trust in the processes that have sustained life for billions of years. The breath continues. In, out. In, out. The rhythm persists. The body maintains. Life goes on. Good night.